Chris, have you ever heard of Patriot Studios? They're like a 1/12 scale figure producer. Do you have no volume? I gotta turn you up too, I think.
Hello.
You there?
My headphones don't work.
Huh. Oh, that's because they're turned down.
Oh.
How about that?
Well, there we go.
The professional operation I'm running over here. Patriot Studios, 1/12 scale.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I only asked because I just had the pleasure of looking one. Shout out to Jason. He sent me one to take a look at. It's a third-party Joker, Arthur Fleck Joker, like the Joaquin Phoenix.
I'll be honest with you, Bobby.
Hakeem.
There's a lot of companies doing these third-party 12-scale figures. I have seen this figure, although I was unfamiliar with what company it is, because it's like early third-party Transformers. You're like, what brand?
Yeah,
there's so many of them out there.
It's not quite on. Mm-hmm. Like the faces are like a little off.
You still have it here?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it and see what I think.
But it's pretty impressive for being a third-party piece. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think there's a huge future if companies like this.
What third-party 12 scale?
Yeah.
Well, so Lim Toys did a third-party
Lim, like
LIM.
Oh, okay.
No B. Hold the B, Bobby.
Okay.
No P either.
They did a third party solid. I think it was Solid Snake from Metal Gear. It was very well received.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a little on the small side. Truthfully, it was like more like a Figma scale.
Yeah, so is this.
Okay,
for sure. Well, I mean, probably Figuart, some import scale, but like it's like the packaging is nice. Mm-hmm. Like it's magnetic boxes, and it's beautifully decorated and all that kind of stuff. The face is a little bit off, but the paint and the soft goods and all that kind of stuff are like kind of like surprisingly good. It comes with like a little diorama, magnetic pieces,
really,
that form a bathroom, like, and there's like sinks and everything else that you can put in it. I have a couple of pictures of it. It's a pretty. I was just. For a third party piece, I was just pretty shocked at kind of the love of it that like went into it. But like it had two heads, one with the eyes closed head.
I mean, yeah, that looks good. I feel like a third party has a lot of times more love for their product, or looks like it, than the real product.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of times it's better in ways.
Yeah, I was just
like this. Like I wish I didn't get into the PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy VII line, the new one, because a third party is making a fucking amazing set. But that's better than PlayArts Kai for marginally more money.
It's funny to me that I was more excited by a third party Joker than I have been about a third party Transformer. That's not totally fair, but just
it's also because it's new. Because third party Transformers has been a thing for a while that you've been into. It's like in stale, perhaps.
Yeah, I think more so just like the repetitive nature of character choices is getting a little stale. Like you think fucking Batman's bad. Fucking Jesus Christ, Joe. These fucking Devastators and Optimus Primes and fucking, it's just,
yeah, there's another Devastator with already announced like 3 different repaints and Target Masters. Right? Yeah. That orange guy with the fucking doofy face.
Scoop. A hot scoop.
That's like 5th party.
It's something else. There's all this drama with third party Fans Toys KO and all that. My inbox was on fire. It was like the fucking OJs in my inbox. You know what I mean? But
it's your content though.
It's interesting. Yeah, I'll address it and sit down Saturday. It's interesting because they've been kind of able to keep a pretty tight cap on their stuff. You haven't seen a whole lot of Fans Toys KOs. You know?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Because I remember back in the day, you would see KOs immediately.
Yeah,
like Generation Toys, all that shit.
Yeah. So
was it Make Toys when they started having the add-on pieces? They were like third party, or not third party, knockoff add-on pieces and stuff.
Well, I know that like. Make Toys has done some sneaky.
Make Toys a Friends project.
Make Toys has definitely done some sneaky ass shit.
Well, they're selling their own KOs.
They sold their own KOs.
Drug companies do it, so they can do it too.
And what else did they do? They did something else. Oh, they've KO'd shit and done it under different names. And yeah, they've definitely done some sneaky ass shit. I'm gonna get into it, I think, on Saturday,
which is kind of crazy. That's like business as usual in like other industries.
Yeah. So, Joe, you got your coffee first this week. Chris, how was your very exciting and very eventful Nerd Week.
It was very exciting and very eventful.
You had Waffle House. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I had
For starters. So this journey starts at the Waffle House.
Well, I had Southern Waffle House, which hits.
I know it hits different, bro.
Yeah. So we drove to Atlanta on Thursday. So we left probably about 3:00 later than I wanted to on Thursday. Drove to right north of Bristol, Virginia, about 6 hours. Stayed there for the night. Ate Mexican food. Got up the next morning. Drove the rest of the way to Marietta, which traffic was a bear.
Was it? I heard it's only, traffic withstanding, I heard it's only like a 10-hour drive.
Yeah, it's like 10 and a half if you do it straight through.
I don't know why in my head it's longer than that to Atlanta.
It seemed
like, you know what I mean?
It would
like
be longer than that to
fucking
me.
Hilton Head is longer than that.
Yeah.
You know, like South Carolina. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
I think it's. Oh yeah. I don't know. I think Americans are bad at geography.
Well, I mean, I know where the fuck it's at. I've been to places geographically closer that take longer to get to.
You know, it's funny.
Just because of the way the roads and shit, you know what I mean?
Highways and then the width of a state.
Yeah.
I was speaking of geography. I was talking to Walter, who runs the Mythic Legions Cabal, who was actually there this week. He's from California, and we were talking about just geography. And he said, "Man, I can drive 7 miles in any direction. I'm still in California. 7 hours rather. 7 hours.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know, he was like, I have no." He's like, where do you live? Maryland? How far away is that? It's like 10 and 11 hours.
Couldn't be further.
Yeah. I load-in started at 1. The goal was to get there at 1, but traffic was a nightmare. It started raining and people in the South can't drive.
They have anything to do with the trucker thing?
No.
Okay.
No,
that's up here. Right?
I did see some nonsense on the way. I saw
you saw some nonsense, really?
Well, between getting on, getting on 81 and getting off on 75, we saw 3 rebel flags flying on the side of the interstate.
Yeah, well,
some of them proudly on hilltops, and we also saw 2 giant, like 5-story tall crosses on the side of the road.
So I'll tell you a couple funny stories about that. For one, interesting thing about the Canada trucker protest thing.
It's like Canada?
Yeah, that's where it started. It was a Canadian thing.
I thought it was a Frederick thing.
Frederick thing?
It's all like they all like rallied at Frederick, didn't they?
So they rallied in Hagerstown and then they worked their way to DC.
Gotcha.
To protest the stuff that has already been canceled, I think.
The Canadian truck drivers are actually like 90% vaccinated. They just don't want you telling them what to do.
Yeah.
Dude, I respect it. I like that, like, you know what I mean? That's a fucking that's fucking power to the people type shit, you know? Like,
but
I fuck with it.
By the time the U.S. put one together, it was like, what are you protesting exactly? Because all this is at least at the moment.
Plus, the Americans are all like, or we're just on to the next thing. We're like, nobody cares about COVID. Ukraine's under duress.
Yeah. Until we switch back.
The other thing was the crosses, right?
Yes.
So, funny story. I think I've told this before, but with Jaina, we were a little bit more careful about language. Not like talk about, like, not insanely so. And we weren't, like, it wasn't about like curse words and stuff. But like we tried to refrain from certain curse words, dick and pussy and stuff like that. But we tried to refrain also from like the word hate and kill and like just shit that would sound nasty if she said it at school, right? Like,
right.
Et cetera, et cetera. So we would often use whacked instead of killed, like, So anyway, long story short, Jano had to go to a Christian preschool because she couldn't get into public school because it's like a lottery thing, and unless you check certain boxes, you're pretty much short. Okay. And it could be a learning disability, it could be everything. I thought we were going to get in because she was actually speech delayed for but wasn't disabled enough, Joe. You might say she was handy capable.
Oh boy.
So it started like that, huh?
So anyway, she learned a lot about God and all that kind of stuff, and we're driving home, and actually on the side of 144 there were 3 big crosses at one point. And she was like, "Look over there," and I took a look. I was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "That's where the guys whacked Jesus."
Wow. I mean, it was a hit, but yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Wow.
Are your kids religious at all? Not if they're religious. Are they like into any of that shit at all?
So Jaina is like anti.
Oh,
like strongly anti.
Atheist or agnostic? or just anti-religion?
I think she's just anti-God. It's actually almost uncomfortable to have conversations with her about it because I'm like, why do you feel? You have no reason to feel this passionately.
I mean,
about this.
I think as a culture we get more and more secular.
Yeah, but I'm talking about how passionately she is anti. It's not like, no, I don't believe in that. It's just like, no, definitely not. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in unicorns. I don't believe, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like you're 13.
She said, no, not Jesus Christ.
Keep your mind open and whatever, like just don't barricade yourself to anything,
Yeah. It happens a lot with kids. You have, you can have strong opinions in your youth, but be open-minded and listen to the other side of it because you never know.
What's the point in, even if you're even if you're not, like, I'm not into religion. But like if I were to meet a religious person tomorrow and they had like a little one-liner gem of wisdom that I could apply, like I'm gonna keep my mind open to that. My baby and Selena probably just like they're not into it, but they probably believe in God if you were to ask them, do you believe in God? But the baby thinks that every like thing is like angels or Jesus Christ. She thinks that like anything that like is a remotely religious in nature, symbolically or iconically, is Jesus Christ. So like when I'm wearing the True Romance sweatshirt that's got the angel on it, she's like, "Oh, you're wearing your Jesus Christ sweatshirt." and she
Did you do that in school?
And she always says like, "Why is Jesus so sad?" And I'm like, "Why is he? What do you mean he's sad? His Jesus cries? Why is he always crying?"
Oh my God. Let's get some scatter shots for Leia. That's great. That's great. Jesus Christ. Well, if Jesus gets a part-time job and everything goes good for him, he could be Jesus Fries. I mean, that's the next logical step, right? That's where he wants to be, on the fries. That's where the money comes in.
Yeah. Or if he had to like work with like a construction crew and they had to like work their way into like a building or something, he could be Jesus Plies.
Right. Or like if they put him undercover to go to another country, it could be Jesus Spies.
He could be a pilot and be Jesus Flies.
He could be only if he had Pontius Pilate with him. He could fly, and then Jesus Pilate could be the co-pilot.
And if he heard that joke, Jesus Size.
Oh man, Kanye's crying somewhere at us right now. So my nerd week,
yeah.
We get to Toy Lanta, we get the booth. We had some of our co-displayers help us set up. I knew a good amount of the people that were there from mythic interactions over the years. Met some new people that I hadn't met before. A lot of people I knew, like, oh, I know you from the internet, but it's nice to shake your hand kind of deal.
Right.
This show, it didn't realize they have a preview night on Friday from 6 to 8. So if you bought the VIP gold
package
deal, you get this 2 hours. So we're barely set up by 6. We get set up in 2 hours, and then the next morning at the show started at 9. So you got down there and finished up a couple little things. I don't know if you guys saw the video I posted of the display, but I was actually pretty pleased.
Yep.
Most of the time when we set this stuff up, it ends up we constantly fuck with it and move shit. We didn't do that at all. So we set it up and it worked the way we wanted it to. Lots of awesome interactions with people. Met a lot of people that had bought stuff from us before that, hey, I love your stuff.
Right.
And, some of them ordered more, which was nice.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. This is an interesting show for several reasons. The layout it's a little strange. There's a main room, and then there's all these, they call them breakout rooms. So it would be trying to gauge the size of one of these rooms. I don't know, probably like, so let's just say we had 2 tables in the corner. There was probably maybe 10 8-foot tables in this room around the perimeter. If that kind of gives you a gauge. So
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there were 7 of us set up in that room. And there was another room set up that had some more of our group in there. So shout out to Rob from MAFC for putting this together and getting everybody down there. It was really cool to see how many people had never seen, the Mythic Legions line or our stuff. I had a lot of conversations with people that had to explain like the whole customizing side of the Mythic Legions thing that's so huge.
Right.
A lot of the other people that were there vending were people who either create the 3D parts or they paint them and sell them or whatnot. So And a lot of eyes on our stuff. Market penetration experiment is what I called it. So a lot of 12-inch GI Joe collectors are still alive, believe it or not. They're there. So I was excited to look at different stuff, right? Because I was going to it. Yeah, it was Marvel Legends, Black Series, and a bunch of old GI Joe stuff.
I should have had you look for a Galen.
I did look.
Oh, really?
I did look. I
can't find a motherfucker for shit.
I did not see him. Anybody that's listening, though,
yeah, if you find a Galen Urso, hit me up.
Yeah. So, we didn't sell a ton at the show. Wasn't planning on selling a ton at the show. We had a lot of great conversations. Some business opportunities, I think, may come out of this for us.
Love to hear it.
I set up the wrestling thing I had built kind of for myself that I wasn't even going to bring, that Kelly told me to bring. And it was the if you have room, put it up kind of thing. And I put it up, and I got tons of people coming over just for that. We took a DTOF with us.
Wow.
We took a built DTOF with us, and it actually worked out just fine because we laid it down and then we just put a bunch of little boxes of stuff inside the DTOF.
To keep the door from slamming.
Yeah, and then I actually put one of our table covers in there so it didn't clang, 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 clang. Because that's the worst thing, having that noise for...
It's scary because it's going to shatter. It's going to shatter.
Yeah.
Shattered glass uncut.
Shattered glass cut. So my wife has gotten into, she listens to audio books pretty much all the time. And we listened to a couple audiobooks in the car. One of them was called Impact Winter. Here's the concept. A comet has hit the earth and blotted out the sun.
All right.
And here come the vampires.
Nice.
That's the premise. And there's 3 types of vampires. There are kind of like a zombie vampire that just kind of wanders around, and if they happen to eat, they eat. Yeah. There's a, you wouldn't know they were a vampire unless you saw their fangs or checked their temperature. And then there's like the god vampire that can shapeshift and shit. So it was a pretty good story. I was a little predictable at the end. And then we listened to another one called The Kaiju Preservation Society.
Oh, is this specific room?
Well, so, Will Wheaton, he did the narrate. He read the book.
Nice.
And he's a very animated person. And this book was actually written in 2021, and it starts out in March of 2020. Oh. And it deals with the pandemic. Basically, the premise here is Godzilla was created by whoever created Godzilla was told that story by Japanese sailors who had actually seen a kaiju but couldn't prove it. And there's a thin part between the two universes due to nuclear whatever. And there's a portal you go to, and there's kaiju. And
that's a specific room.
It is, yeah. But they're trying to preserve them, and then of course there's a bad guy that's trying to steal. And it was fine. It was kind of anticlimactic at the end because I'd already figured out what was going to happen.
Yeah, honestly,
but you know what? It made the time pass.
Right.
Y'all need to listen to some creepypasta.
I know. I thought about that, but it's like, well, let's just get this stuff done. Oh, the new Mario Kart tracks are out. There's 8 new Mario Kart tracks. I've played each of them probably, I don't know, 6-7 times already.
Nice.
They're great.
Have you gotten to the point where you can play one of them blindfolded yet?
No, not yet.
People memorize shit. You put on a certain track and they can just play it without looking at it.
Yeah, so like Kennedy said, I don't like the new tracks because I don't know how to drive them. I'm like, none of us do. Just learn. Just get on there and learn.
You don't want any new things.
So many of them are, yeah. So that was a lot of fun.
That's the fun of like discovering the new challenge and doing good.
I ate a ridiculous amount of good food. I ate Mexican twice in the South. I had barbecue at this place called, I pulled it up,
famous barbecue,
Hog and Ale Smokehouse in Marietta, Georgia. And
Hog and Ale.
This is a story.
That's probably what it was. I was like,
this is a story. So we had gone to the Mexican restaurant on Friday night. And the people who sat next to us, they had gone to this barbecue place and said it was fantastic. They had sweet tea collard greens.
Oh, sounds good.
And Bobby's like, that sounds gross on so many levels.
That sounds amazing.
So we're like, all right, we'll go there. So we walk in. It doesn't look super busy, but it also, you could tell they're super understaffed. After some confusion, they say, you can sit at that table right by the band. And it's literally like we're sitting here we're sitting together on one side of this booth. On the other side of the booth, there's just chairs, and then like basically where Joe would be to me, there's an electronic drum set set up. And then there's a monitor up here that's going to be screaming at us soon.
Nice.
Well, we sit there.
Seats, bro.
Well, maybe if it was something. Yeah. Long story short,
what are you playing?
This was
Mexican cover band.
Mexican drill.
Mexican drill.
Well, no, this wasn't a Mexican restaurant. It was a barbecue restaurant.
Fuck.
And it was honestly
hillbilly drill.
I'm trying to think of a song they
Bluegrass.
played that I recognize. It was a lot of like early 80s rock and stuff. But their whole family was there. And come to find out by paying attention, the people who were playing the music are related to the people who own the place.
Makes sense.
And like there were people waiting to sit down, but this family had this whole long table and wasn't really doing anything but occupying their children with tablets. It was very strange. Long story short, probably the best barbecue I've had
No shit.
in years.
Oh, wow.
It was fucking and I told the server that. I said, listen, man, this experience was strange as hell, but this is some of the best barbecue I've had in a very long time.
I guess
it was great. It was great. It was just such a weird experience. Like
I feel like it's part of the charm.
Yeah, that's fair.
we also, Kelly and I we obviously jokingly, but maybe not, think that, we're all living in a simulation, and sometimes the NPCs just aren't ready for you to be there.
No.
So on this trip, I made specific notes of this on this trip because so many strange fucking things seem to happen.
Like the idle animation, like doesn't turn off quite right.
Right. So we pulled up to an ATM, and it's like, it doesn't work. Like we put our card in and just spit it right back out. And we've used this ATM several times before. Didn't work. Go to the McDonald's drive-thru. The window doesn't work. Like the may I take your order thing. Pulled up to the window. The girl seemed super surprised to see us, and she took her order there. This Mexican restaurant, I'm sorry, not the Mexican restaurant, the barbecue restaurant, has a bar. What is normally going to be playing on the TVs in a bar?
Sports.
Yeah, not the movie Friday and a movie with Meryl Streep in Africa with lions. I don't know the name of it.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
It's quite good.
So it was almost.
I'm not surprised by that.
So it just seemed off. And then we looked a little closer at the bar, and they have a One Piece poster at the bar, which is right up my wife's alley.
Hell yeah.
And then they have two WCW wrestling figures up there.
Oh, wow.
They have a Ric Flair and a Hulk Hogan.
Matrix loaded that just for you guys.
It gets even weirder. Those two wrestling figures I have at home. That one of the first custom things I ever did is I made a Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the NWO, and I took that Ric Flair and I made a Sting with a face paint, and I still have them at my house.
Wow,
what the fuck?
Yeah, that is bizarre.
Very fucking strange trip for us. Yeah. Like from that processing that kind of stuff. It's like you got around the corner before the NPCs got to load a millisecond. Yeah. I don't know.
Strange shit like that does happen in life, though.
It does, man. It makes you really think.
I mean, especially when people watch. Sometimes I'm like, "Are you conscious? Mm-hmm. Are you sentient, bro?"
Yeah,
they're just like looping. It's like a looping animation. Sometimes you watch people.
Definitely. I met some cool people. Saw some cool people. Jason P, who we partied with in Bobby, we partied with in
TFCon.
Mm-hmm. He came by Saturday and walked the show, hung out a little bit, and then told me he had something for me and he was going to bring it. And we're trying to figure out logistics. I'm like, man, if I don't get it from you, I'll just he's coming to BotCon in the fall.
That's the dude who I call Georgia.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. Yeah. So he ends up coming back. I guess
he has a nice family too. I want to shout out his wife and kids.
Well, speaking of his family, he somehow convolutedly talks his family into going to eat dinner somewhere near where the show was. And I didn't take a picture of it. He found at a thrift store or a yard sale. I don't know if you know this. If you go to a wrestling pay-per-view or maybe even any wrestling show, if you sit in the front 2 rows, you can take the chair with you. It's a logoed chair and everything. So he found this chair. It was from I think it was a Royal Rumble. I think it was maybe 2002. It was the last time that they used the WWF logo before they had to get the F out. So that was really cool. I'm going to clean it up, and it's a real heavy metal chair with nice padding. So
just take the chair as a souvenir. Just take the chair with you. I think they just didn't want to clean up, man. Just everyone take your fucking chairs.
Well, so it's a real heavy metal chair. When you pick it up, it's like get the fuck.
So I met inhaled farts. I know we all know.
I do that every day.
So and if inhaled farts, if you're listening, we had this passing interaction. Dude, I'll be honest with you. The best part about having a room at the hotel where convention is you can just go up there and take a shit. And that's what I was on my way to do when we saw each other. I'm sorry if I was short with you, but dude, things were happening.
I don't mean to cut you off, but do you remember the time at New Jersey Collectors Con that something was wrong with the bathroom and the whole hallway where the bathroom is and like the front desk smelled like complete shit?
I remember that. Somebody clogged the toilet and they couldn't.
Dude,
yeah, that was bad.
It was rancid. Like it was like it would, as my mom used to say, it'd gag a maggot.
My mom says that too. Gag a maggot.
I never heard it.
Yeah, my mom says that too.
But how was that dude in Hales Bar?
Honestly, like it was just a hey, how you doing conversation. I honestly, and I kept seeing him in the distance, but I never did get a chance to talk to him again. But in Hell Farts, it was nice to meet you, brother. Yeah. And then I had a young fella. And it kind of breaks my heart the way this. And Bobby's chuckling because I gave him a little heads up on this. So we're packing. This is definitely a 1.2 day show. There's no reason this should be a Sunday, because by noon it was like the vendors wandering around, and that was about it.
Right.
So around 1 o'clock we started tearing down, and I think probably by like 2:30, 3 o'clock we were basically ready to go. Well, this young guy comes up and introduces himself. His name's Zach. I didn't get his last name, so I can't dox him on the air.
Right.
You're welcome, Zach. He comes up and says he had come, he wanted to meet me. He was a big Nerd Rage fan and wanted to see our stuff. And I'm like, well, here, like we hadn't wrapped some of it up yet. And he tells me, Bobby, he said, I'm 21 now. I've been listening to Bobby Skullface since I was 14.
That's fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
This dude grew up on you, Bobby.
That's, so to speak.
So Zach, if you have any sort of psychiatric evaluation, you can get done.
Dude,
and Zach,
is a weird fucking thing, man.
Zach
Weird,
brought
man.
me the gift of all gifts. He is a king in my book. Before he brought me a boxed Zuvio.
A box.
box.
You gonna keep it in the box?
Mint.
It is. I think my goal now is to get one graded that gets a 1.
It is crazy though, man. Like,
I don't know if you can do that.
I don't think you can. I've never seen less than like a 5.8 or some shit.
Let's try.
I will get like every now and then I'll get like an email or a DM from somebody that'll be like, man, I started watching your channel when I just started driving. My parents were getting a divorce. Now I got my own place. You know what I mean?
And
like,
I'm divorced.
And I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah, 14 to 21 is like a huge
nuts.
different than like 24 to 31. Doesn't
Right.
sound the same at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Or, I mean, I'm thinking when I started, I was probably 34 to 41.
Yeah.
Like,
But it doesn't seem that much different. Like there's not much change in this stage in life.
it's nuts. It's nuts, man.
These nuts.
These buyouts.
There was there's obviously people
When
coming.
14 years supposed to be watching you, man, YouTube has something to say about that shit.
Back then it didn't matter. It's the Wild Wild West.
Now
parents.
YouTube's like, see, demonetized.
So I had an interesting conversation with a guy, and if he told me his name, I don't remember, and it's probably for the best. But he works for Warner Media.
Oh, no
He's
shit.
a toy collector, and I got into him a bit.
Oh, yeah?
I said, "Do you?"
So to speak.
I said, "You work for Warner." I said,
bro.
I said, "I got something I want to talk to you about." I said, I explained it. I said, "Are you familiar with Tom McFarlane's toys?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Are you familiar with the character Grifter?"
Oh, God.
And he said, "I am." I said, "You remember like what was his weapons?" He's like, "He carried 2 guns." I said, "Oh, so not 2 machetes." Right. He's like, he looked at me funny. I said, "All the DC comic toy reveals from Todd McFarlane and even from Hot Toys, they don't include any guns, and that's some sort of decree." And he looked at me funny, and he said something along the lines of, "That tracks because the work I do, I'm not allowed to show or mention or anything to do with guns." He's like, "But I get it. It's silly that it trickles down that." So
I want.
who knows if it was ever meant to be what it is, like with the action figures? Because I've never seen the mandate or anything, but the way this guy was talking,
they
it
get
was
approved though.
something
Right?
from top of the hill there.
I assume like projects get approved. Like when you tell someone to make a toy, like I assume when they tell someone to make a toy for them, they're not like, oh, okay, go make a toy and go sell it. They probably like show me what you got. Okay, that can go.
Lil Mama.
Like I want to know like how far up the line that was. That
Well,
like that decision was made.
There was
at what level?
I can't
there was
remember.
A board or one person. Or
There was
what?
one figure where the gun was shown in the promotional imagery, and then it was gone. And Eric B and I were actually talking about this recently.
That's recent, right?
Well, I think that the Hush one was the last one to get through. Mafex Hush.
Mafex Hush. Yeah, I remember. So I remember. I think Amazing Yamaguchi Joker originally showed it, but the second time they showed it, they had
was the
blacked it out.
And I have that.
It didn't come with any gun,
I had that. It has a gun.
The one
It's got the bang flag.
The bang flag gun. I gotcha.
So I don't know if that defies the laws of it somehow.
Just snip it off.
The Harley literally came with nothing. Nothing. I have her holding a ponytail.
It's ridiculous. But I mean, I you know,
and it's weird. She holds it like this,
like with a trigger finger,
like a trigger, and that's. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of unloaded on the guy for a minute, just
so to speak.
So to speak.
What's going on in Atlanta these days?
It's wild. It's wild. But I mean, it was cool just to have our stuff out, you know, different people, and the reactions it's kind of humbling, you know.
The virtuous element of it is fucking bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you talking about the gun thing?
Yeah, I'm just stuck on it. Like, I've
been stuck on this dude. I've been stuck on this.
How many guns are in the fucking Batman movie?
That's what I'm saying. If you don't want the trickle down of it, don't put it in your property.
Yeah,
in the
don't have it in the comic books.
Take a real stand.
I mean, I hate to say this because I told this guy this. I said, listen. Don't put guns in Peacemaker. Please don't do that because it's great with the guns.
Make the movie equally as fucking dumb as the toys.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, but you don't want that because you want that check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like the virtue always stops at the fucking decimal point.
And let's think about this. A maniac with 2 guns is dangerous. A maniac with 2 machetes, that's probably worse in some cases.
Yes.
Mass stabbings.
I mean, look at what's happening in the UK. If you want to see what, you know what I mean? Like the UK is having a fucking problem.
All I'm seeing is the UK is a bunch of Louis sneakers. So
yeah, that too.
That's all I'm seeing.
But I mean, they call, like, they have these kids, I mean, I say kids, but, you know, 17, 18, early 20s year olds run around with fucking knives on them that look like they're gonna kill a dragon with them. You know what I mean? Like they're fucking 15 inches long. They fucking are shaped like you got them out of the flea market or something with curves and fucking, you know, gnarly ass shit. You know, like
spikes
fucking,
on the handle.
It's crazy what these kids are doing over there.
Yep. But so you know, overall, I say the show was a success. You know, we had a good time. I think we made a lot of good contacts with people. Passed out. I thought we got new business cards, and they come in these little boxes, which is nice. That way you don't have to just try to grab a handful.
Right. And
they're not too expensive, Bobby. Maybe we'll get some Nerd Rage ones with our names on them. I'm just saying.
I know. I need to do the update. I just forget.
But I took like 5 of those little boxes, and we gave out, I think, almost every single one of those business cards. So
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. But back to the grind. For us. So, and I think that's I'm sorry, I'm stroking it, Bob.
It picks it all up.
Yeah. Like ever since he's talking about going right on that guy.
Where that Atlanta shit.
Yeah. I think that'll
brought that shit back.
It's the Atlantic shit. Yeah.
It's like fucking Vegas. Whatever it happens in Atlanta stays in Atlanta, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Atlanta's a mess.
Joe, how was your nerd week?
Not that much. Mainly because like we got back in on Deadly Women. It's on ID investigation something channel.
Okay.
On internet, because like this is one of our favorite shows, and they only have season 7 through 12 or some shit on Hulu.
Okay.
And recently I found out that they're released the whole thing.
Oh, you went back and caught the prequels.
Yeah, I guess. So we've been going through those. Like, I love that show, man. Like,
yeah.
They do cover some high profile cases, like the ladies who was killing people for Charles Manson, and Andrea Yates, and the other lady who drove her kids into the river.
Man,
you're gonna have something to say? Some shit.
No, but like I will say that in a previous life, I made a comment about Andrea Yates that was fucked up. That I'm not going to say here.
Wow. Yeah. That bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like stranger than fiction. Like a lot of these real life cases, like lady who, for example, this lady who's have that Munchausen's thing.
Munchausen
by proxy, yeah, where they like they either actually hurt themselves or there's always something wrong with them to get the attention.
I thought Munchausen was by proxies if you're like giving your kids, strychnine or something. Right?
Yeah. I thought Munchausen's were like box gobblers.
That's Boglins. The hand puppet.
I said Box Scout is.
Yeah, that dude's a real Munchausen.
Nope.
All right.
Stupid. But she always pretends to be pregnant, right? To get attention, because pregnant people get attention apparently.
Yeah.
But always some wrong, because she's not actually pregnant. She always have miscarriage or whatever. But this one time she like flipped her lid and went and like killed a lady and cut her belly open, stole the baby out of it, and then took it home and pretended it's hers.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's happened. I know of several times that's happened. I mean, I've heard of several times.
It's crazy. But yeah, like Dead Woman is fucking an amazing show, and it's like detached enough to where it's not depressing, because they do like reenactment and stuff. It's cool, but like it's not drama like real. It's like kind of goofy, so like you can kind of enjoy it without having to really think about how monstrous some of this shit is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we watched like 3 seasons so far. They're still making them apparently. We didn't know. We were on this show like 3 years ago, but they still made them up until last year. So I'm excited to keep watching. Watched because I was just up and Netflix was rolling a docu miniseries called Bad Vegan.
Okay, somebody hit me up. It was Matt H. hit me up and told me, suggested that to me. It's actually on my list.
That's interesting, but could have been shorter.
Yeah.
Like,
they want that streaming money.
It's told in like a kind of a convoluted way a little bit. Like I think it's editing is not the best. Story is interesting. I think it's seeing people with Tiger King. I'm not sure, but like I don't know because we know cult mentality. Like people who go into the cult, you
spell table, buddy. We know.
Because you can get people to believe in some wild ass shit. So this lady was a very successful business lady. Like had restaurant doing great. And
the shoulders on that suit were fucking huge. I've been imagining in my head.
I don't know. This is the 80s, bro.
I know, but it's still in my head. It's still the same way.
Is this set in New York? This story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I saw the commercial for it.
Yeah. And then she met some dude who claims to be very special. And she started believing him and started giving him money. And then
I feel like that's what I did
next
tomorrow.
thing you know,
whoa,
sounds about right. Like next thing you know, like her like everyone walked out of her business because she's not paying them, and then they are like on the run. But I don't want to give the whole thing away.
I'm going to watch this shit
because she's on it. Like they're interviewing her.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to watch that.
And there's like transcripts of emails and texts and voicemail evidence. So I'm like, how are you? Like, I'm like, are you this dumb as you're making yourself out to be?
Right.
Or like, this is some shady going on and you're passing off as being dumb to like get away with some shit.
Right.
It's hard to tell, but I'm thinking it's just dumb. People like the duality of man is crazy. Like you can be fucking extremely smart and do some really fucking dumb shit that don't make sense.
Yep, agreed.
But yeah, it's 4 episodes, like so it's like maybe 4 hours. Could have been 3.
I believe it.
But a very interesting story. So I recommend it. If
I'm
you
gonna check that out.
If you like that kind of wacky documentary, watched Dracula Untold. I'm still waiting for the sequel. It's still good.
Oh yeah. That was like the origin story. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah, it's really fucking good.
Yeah,
It's a good,
it's solid.
Like after the movie, I'm like, that's a good fucking vampire movie. Not all this new bullshit that's been coming out with the sparkly shit.
Yeah, I don't like the
which
sparkly
has its
ones.
place. Like, cause like Anne Rice shit is kind of sparkly.
Yeah, well, so
You
like
know?
the thing is,
like Lestat was very sparkly.
I would love for them to reboot that. Like really tell that Anne Rice story,
not that movie.
but
that movie,
start over, complete reboot, start at the beginning and tell it chronologically.
Yes,
and really go through the Vampire Diary or whatever it was called. Was it called Vampire Diaries? Whatever it was fucking called.
No, that's the TV show with the sparklies.
Oh, okay. We'll go
Interview
through
with the Vampire with Christian Slater.
Yeah, no. I know that's the movie, but I thought that there was a name for that series as well.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's Vampire Diaries because that's
no. Vampire Diaries, I think, is a show that like all of my kids' friends watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even like,
Yeah, but I would love a reboot of that though.
There's many different
because even like the stories, like when I would hear about them, I never read the books because I'm fucking.
I think Adam did.
Yeah, and he would tell me about it, and I'd be like, man, that shit sounds cool. And then like when I saw the Lestat movie, I was like, this is not cool.
No, but you watched Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be the same universe, but they're very different.
They're very different.
Yeah,
there's some cool scenes in Lestat.
Well, yeah, with Leia and the fucking.
I mean, yeah.
Dude, sidetrack. You know how I'm old? How we are old because, like, you know, I listen to creepypastas and they give shout outs. Sometimes there's a thing called shilling where, there's one guy shilling for Shudder, which is, you know, the scary movies from Prime.
Right.
But like, he was reading off things that were there and it's like, oh, like, Queen of the Dam with Alaya. I'm like, you don't know who she is. You are just reading the script, bro.
I'm like, you're a liar.
But like, to think about it, that she died 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, there are people who have no idea who the fuck she is, and she's kind of legendary in I think in our age group.
Yeah. Pack that plane like a motherfucker. I mean, it's awful. But I mean,
it is.
That's what they say they did. They overpacked that plane.
Overpacked the plane. It's very unfortunate. And then you know, the only other time we heard about her was with the fucking R. Kelly shit.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I forgot what some. Oh yeah, but Dracula Untold, great vampire story. Like one of my favorite kinds of vampire. I don't like the modern vampire so much. Mm-hmm. Or like the Victorian ones, not so much either. Like I like them enough. Like the nobles, like Interview with the Vampire. Those are kind of cool vampires.
Yeah, I like them. I like Underworld. I like.
See, that's the modern vampire I like. Not Vampire Diaries or Twilight.
Yeah, I don't like that. But I don't think. I'll be honest. I just don't think we're the demo. Like it's like
no, we're not.
You know, it's young girls and like, and I think that like there's something missing in the vampire world. Like, and I celebrate a lot of them, like different types. Like I can do the Victorian style. Mm-hmm. I can do the kind of modern underworld style. Yeah. I can do the monstrous style.
Yeah, like feral.
Yeah, you know, but I just struggle with
30 Days a Night.
Yeah, exactly. Nosferatu or Shadow of a Vampire.
No good.
But like
it's so good. So good.
But you know, like I feel like vampires are but in a world where perhaps Batman and Star Wars is overproduced, I feel like vampires are extremely underproduced.
I mean, you had that Dracula thing on Netflix.
I don't know.
Phil was talking about it. Remember, it was like it's kind of like the old Dracula, like I want to suck your blood kind of guy.
I bombed.
Yeah, that was like last year, and then Nick Cage is going to be Dracula.
Oh yeah. Well, I told you he was in Shadows of Vampire. You still haven't seen him. It's a good movie.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, you probably dig it.
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Watched Casino Royale because we're looping back around to the first one.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I think this is my favorite Bond and Bond series. Like, there's a change. Like, if you watch the first movie again, because we just watched the last movie, and now we just watched the first movie, there's a definitive character growth and change and aging.
Is there 3 or 4 in this?
I think it's 4.
Is it 4 in the?
It's Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace. I love that name.
That's a lot.
Such a great name.
That's a Warhammer book.
Exactly. Blank of the Blank is a great Blank of the Blank. Skyfall, which is great. And then No Time to Die.
Gotcha.
There might be one in there, I forgot, but those are the 4 I remember.
I think you're right.
But they all have fucking banger openings. They're great. James Bond openings are fucking great. Especially with this series. They pick these 4 all have great songs, and then they have the visuals. Like whoever's artsy and does these openings, good job. You need them. Yeah. Get them to do some editing.
I believe it.
But yeah, I don't think I watched the other James Bond mini rewatches like this one. I liked them enough.
My dad loved James Bond. I could never get into it. I don't know what it was.
What about James Bond Jr.? You remember that? No. Did that cartoon series?
Yeah, no. I never. It just none of that shit connected with me for whatever reason, and still to this day,
the British guy, the Aston Martin. I don't see why it didn't connect with you.
Well, I like British people.
I know, but when you're a kid,
yeah, I'm quite fond of them.
It's like
you looked at it and said, "What's all this?"
Yeah. All right then. What's all this?
Because I mean, it's action. It's super spy and
yeah, I guess.
And then the gadgets and stuff. It's like Mask. Like when I was a kid, it's like the cars have buttons and missiles, and they transform the car into a sub, like all that.
Oh,
shit.
so Fast and Furious 10.
The only thing that I connected with as a young lad was seeing some of the women. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
that
like
too.
I was like, man, like who was that? Like, you know, I remember clear as day. This one in particular is by the pool that my dad was watching, and I was like, man, who is that?
Octopussy.
It may have been. I don't know. You
I
know,
mean, there was one in every movie.
yeah,
An octopus?
No, well,
Not one hot
no,
chick.
there was an Octo Mom in one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would have made her an Octomom.
But I mean, I feel like they just cram all things guys stereotypically like into a piece of media.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Like fucking cool cars, gadgets, tech, action, guns, hot women.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Old women.
They're just fucking missing sharks with fucking lasers on their head. But you like that?
Well, now you see why. I mean, honestly,
Meryl Streep in it.
honestly, Austin Powers was just a complete, like, solid parody of all the James.
Yeah,
and I
Bond
enjoyed
stuff.
that.
But well done.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that
too.
quite a bit. I haven't watched that movie in a long time,
Chad.
and I am very concerned with how it holds
he's
up.
got there's a new movie coming
Goldfinger,
out that's got Mike Myers playing a trillion roles in it. I don't remember the name of it. I saw the preview for.
Do you watch the commercial? Because I've been watching ID. The Dead Woman, I guess free, but so does commercials. It's interesting watching commercials again. We actually like look forward to the commercials when they come on because we're like, oh, is this what commercials are like? But there's one where I don't even know what they're fucking selling, but they have the whole cast of Austin Powers,
Oh, really?
like there, like the bad guys. They have Dr. Evil, and Seth Green as the
Yeah,
son,
yeah.
and the guy,
The old German lady.
and the old lady. Like, they have all of them together in character selling something. I'm like, amazing.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And lastly, watched Escape Plan, 2013 movie. Was supposed to be just shitty action movie to put on the background. Ended up to be pretty good. With Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and the doctor from Jurassic Park.
The Hammond? Or
No, young one with a hat.
oh, Sam Elliott? Is that him?
Not Sam
Neill?
Elliott. That's Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Sam Elliott has a mustache we all fear.
50
That's
Cent,
right, that's
50
right.
Cent has a support part in it.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, Curtis.
It was pretty good. He was pretty good at his role. He's only got like 4 or 5 scenes, but he was good in it.
yeah.
But no, it's a very fun romp. If you're looking for a fun romp, Pinkerton. So it's about this guy who his whole job, he gets lots of money into it. Is he companies hire him with a fake identity to get locked up in high security prisons, and he breaks out of them. Right,
Like
he's
as a
really good at it.
like a security measure. He's
Yeah,
trying
he
to
breaks
show
out of
their-
them, and then he goes back to the war. And
I
it's like this and
remember-
this and this and this is.
I
fucked
remember
up.
this by premise. Yeah,
Yeah, he's like, this was pretty good, but I got the fuck out. And then he wrote a whole book on how to build a prison. But then he got fucked and put into a serious prison because someone was trying to get rid of him.
Ah,
And then him and Arnold has a team up for whatever reason to get out. I don't want to spoil it in case anyone wants. I feel look.
Is there
We
a
always ask for,
is there
like,
a chopper they have to get to.
There is a chopper.
Does he say it? Does he say it?
I don't
Get
think
to the
so.
chopper.
I wish he did, but because sometimes with movies with him in it, they put those lines in there.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it.
That's good stuff.
I always think about this workout footage that I saw once of Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger working out together.
Atomic Iron.
And they're like competing, you know, and doing reps or whatever, and I guess watching each other's form and everything, making sure they get the full rep and they weren't cutting corners or whatever. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, Lou Ferrigno had that like hearing issue.
Yes.
You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger's like, I got my eye on you. And Lou Ferrigno's like, I know you do, Arnold.
Are we just making fun of Handy Capable? Is that the fucking
it
thing?
just made that just sound so funny. Like Shoulders and I used to say it all the time, like as like a joke. I'd be like, I got my eye on you. Like, I know you do, Arnold. It sounds because he sounds almost more Austrian.
I was going to
than-
say that sounded more Austrian than just pretend he's Austrian.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. We always ask for questions and stuff. Like I want
At
some,
nerdrageradio@gmail.com.
I want some comments on people just who listens. If you not just mine, but like if you actually ever partake in watching media that we suggest, let us know. Let me know. I would like to know that people actually care about this shit, or should we just skip that altogether?
I'll tell you what I heard the most from recently in response was Euphoria. That's the most I've heard like back from people. Like I checked it out and I'm hooked.
Nice.
I had somebody hit me up. Actually, it was Casey hit me up yesterday and was like, I was watching the Batman, and about an hour and a half in, I was like, I just want to go home and watch Euphoria. He's the guy who I said he has enjoyed it the least of everyone that I have spoken to. But where I'm arguing with him that it's not that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, often it's that way with you.
Yeah, it's funny how. See, Bobby's not on the boat. Bobby's in the rowboat. Bobby will pull people in the rowboat, but he'll never get on the boat with them. It's kind of how it is.
When people try to get from the rowboat to the real boat, he just pulls on the leg.
Listen, we're going to stay here and talk about this for a while. They have food. They have water. It's okay.
I'm trying to think of ones I'm on the boat for. Dark Knight. I feel like that's one I'm like on the boat for. I guess Snyder Cut. I guess Infinity War. I'm trying to think about movies that are like kind of universally loved, and I'm like, I too love that.
Transformers the movie.
Transformers the movie. I'm trying to think about modern ones.
Well, I mean,
Transformers the movie 2007.
What's modern? That movie's like 12 years old now.
Yeah, I mean that's modern
crazy
enough
to think about that.
Yeah, that's true though.
But yeah, just comment in the name of whatever one of us suggests, and then a letter grade, and then we'll know that you watch it and how you feel about it.
Just put mid. We'll know what that means.
Mediocre.
So I watched some stuff this week. I watched the first episode of DMZ on
TMZ?
DMZ.
Oh, must be different.
Yeah, it's like cousin of DMX.
Yes.
It's DMX is on TMZ.
Oh, dude, it's getting meta in here. It's on HBO Max. I think it's based on a Vertigo comic. I think. I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
Rosario Dawson is the star of it, and Manhattan is like a DMZ, and it seems like, I guess, on one side of the island is one army, and on the other side of the island is another army. And I'll be honest, I watched it, just the first episode, and I was kind of like, this is fine. And then the last 2 minutes, I was like, oh, God, that's really good. That part's really, really good. So I'm in for another episode. We'll see how it goes. But it's shot well, and it's very cinematic, and it's it's like she lost her son, basically.
Is this modern times?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they were
not near future, don't know the modern.
Yes. You don't really know what's going on as far as what caused this, but she's walking to there's like a caravan of escape of courage, really, Joe, in many ways. but a caravan of like escape buses, basically, as everything is starting to lock down, and she has her son behind her. And she gets right up to the bus door and then turns around. She's been checking on him the whole time, and he's gone. So she's basically looking for her son in the DMZ. And it's I can't call it yet. It's an okay episode. The last 5 minutes hooked me.
DMV?
Yeah. So I recommend maybe giving it a shot. I'll keep you updated. I'm going to watch it. So I started watching the documentary on GameStop, but I fell asleep on it.
I can't imagine that's going to be super interesting.
It's on the short sell, the stock shit that they did.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it all.
Yeah.
One, how long is it? I feel like you can wrap this shit up in one episode.
That should be like
I think it is.
That should be like a 20-minute Vice thing.
Yeah. That would have been perfect.
But I mean, they go into like for a guy like me that doesn't really know shit about the stock market, they go into a lot of information about breaking it down so that I understand it.
I mean, the concept of a short sell is bananas.
Yeah, agreed.
Once you get your head around it, you're like,
it should be illegal.
I started watching a show called Minx on HBO Max.
Oh, fair little fellas.
Yeah.
Minx. That sounds like it would be on like...
They make a warm coat, I'll tell you that bloody much.
You sure that's not...
bloody. Oh, it's going to be bloody. Depends on where you go.
On the 24 hours in the car, Kelly and I came up with a new concept. So the flex, I guess in some circles, is to have like a mink coat. Mm-hmm. Now, we got it figured out. 3 minks on leashes that I'm taking motherfuckers everywhere. throw paint on these dudes. I'm bringing live animals as a flex. I'm going to stun one of them and wear it around my neck. The other two of them I have on leaches. I'm going to walk up in the Met Gala like, what's up, bitches?
The stun one
Can't
is
stop
awesome.
these minks.
Yeah.
Dude,
Sorry.
they wouldn't know. The stun one could be like, their thing is, because they do have like, there's just stuffed animal looking ones.
Yeah.
So someone would throw paint on them, like, and they'll wake up and like, why you just throw paint on my pet, bro?
It's my
the mink,
comfort animal.
The minx wakes up like, all right, what's all this then?
So all this. Well, my British
Emotional support animal, bro. It's service animal.
emotional damage.
Dude, somebody had recently and like something fucked up, like an emotional support mule or something. I was like, man, this shit's, I mean, come on.
There was a story of
I mean, it
someone
depends
who
where
had
you're from, though, right?
No, it was like in Maryland.
somebody had a
Depends on where you are.
Not the long skinny part.
Oh, yeah, because that part, no.
one of the reasons they changed some of the rules on the airlines. And I want to say this is correct. Someone brought a emotional support like a peacock on a plane.
I saw that too.
and that's pretty much they're like, okay, that's enough.
I mean, like, they should draw the line farther back than that. Not that you're not entitled to your support animal, but we're not entitled to deal with your support.
But what if you're in a restaurant, say a chain restaurant, let's say Cracker Barrel. Joe, I also eat Cracker Barrel. Well,
Fuck.
and you hear a dog bark while you're in the restaurant. Is it off-putting to you? When you look back and notice there is a dog under a table and it doesn't have on any sort of vest or identification. And actually,
Identification.
well, no, I'm saying you know what I mean.
There's a little wallet.
Yeah, and the manager said if it barks again, you have to take the dog to the car. And I guess we were using the bathroom, and we go out to the car, and here's this lady trying to shove this dog in a car. It was not interesting.
I mean, and the problem with that is people are allergic.
That's the
fucking
thing.
animals,
What if I'm
bro.
allergic to this dog, and you're bringing it in here, and you're compromising your entire restaurant? Yeah, it's just mind-boggling to me.
So anyway, this show actually isn't about the animal at all.
Oh, bummer.
It's about.
I forgot about it. We're talking about.
I'm guessing it's completely fictional, or it's based off of something that all the names have been changed. But it's about this woman who starts the first pornographic magazine for women.
Oh, like play girl.
Yes, Type deal.
Is it different angles? I mean, what?
Well, it's funny because she wants to just start like a women's empowerment magazine, and it's like the 80s, and it wants to be about like suits that mean business, or like, you know what I mean, like
How big can your shoulder pads be?
Don't let them hold you back, all this stuff. And this dude who's basically like an investor / publisher connect is like, look, I like it. And I like the articles. I think the articles should, but I also think you should add this element because this is what's really going to hook people. It's like, you get more with honey than vinegar or whatever. Yes. And then, you get people with the naked dudes, so to speak. and then you keep them with these meaningful articles and all of this. So
I thought people always read like Playboys for articles.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know.
Shel Silverstein drew a mean cartoon for Playboy.
There's nothing funnier to me than dudes trying to look sexy. It's just so fucking funny.
I'll be honest with you. The only time I've ever looked at any of that is when Shawn Michaels did it.
Yes.
Because I was just more really curious because he posed with a belt and shit.
Yeah. I mean, like,
it's like, are you hard? Are you what is happening here? What state is your genitalia in for this photo, sir?
You're doing a deep dive.
Because like when nowadays you see more. Like I've never seen it before till maybe like the past year or so when you're scrolling through porn. That there's POV, there's all kinds of stuff. Right, POV being one of them. Like recently, I have noticed like there are POV from the ladies'
point of view.
I'm like, who wants to see this,
dudes?
Ladies don't want to see this.
Yeah, dudes.
Like, it must be right.
It's got to be.
It's got to be because dude,
and like
that's not a good look.
It's just like the moment I see like some dude, he's got like his hand, like his head on his hand. Like I'm just like, get the fuck out of here, Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
This shit is just so funny. But anyway, the show's average. It's not great. There's a lot of dick in it. Once again, another HBO show with a whole lot of wiener. And
I've been getting pushed this preview on the commercials I'm watching called X. That's coming out. It's going to be a slasher movie about making porn.
And then
It's about time, Joe.
The last
It's
thing,
like a bunch of people go to this barn to make
did you say
porn.
it's about time?
I mean, why not?
Oh, yeah.
Finally.
The
Joe.
two favorite genres: porn and slashers.
Hey,
Yeah. Last thing I watched was the first episode of Phoenix Rising. And that is a show about Rachel Evan Wood or whatever. It's a documentary.
Sounds familiar. What it was.
So she is an actress who claims or was the first person to claim sexual abuse at the hands of Marilyn Manson.
Oh, okay.
yep, I know who she is. Now that
So-
you say that, it rings a bell.
I watched the first episode. I'm probably going to watch the other episodes.
How many is there?
I don't know.
Bunch or little?
I don't know. It's tricky to navigate this conversation in today's age. This is what I will say. It's clearly an unhealthy relationship. Clearly. But there were times when she was talking about things that were so awful. And I'm like... Let me give you an example, because otherwise I just sound like a monster, right?
No, yeah. Well, something becomes incredible. Like when you push like a narrative so far, I'm like, that becomes like, is that?
So it's not. It's that it's not incredible. That's the thing. It's like the emotions and everything suggest incredible.
Yeah.
But if you were to read it, you'd be like, I mean, this isn't good, but it's not awful.
Oh, okay.
So let me give two examples. One was they were going into a hotel. He had her by the arm, and she describes it as yanking up into a hotel room. She's painting this picture of, he goes to the hotel room. He's pissed due to something or other, unrelated, I believe, to her. Starts trashing the hotel room. She's in there with him. Another person that was on tour with them is at the door looking at her. She's looking at him like, don't leave me in here. He's looking at her like, I'm definitely leaving you in here. And closes the door and leaves her in there. And that's the end of the story.
No, he didn't proceed to beat her ass after that?
No. And that's
Didn't
the
like
thing.
rough her up during sex? Or?
No. Not in this particular story.
Not in this story.
But like anything is said directly towards her?
So I don't
verbal abuse?
So I don't know, and I'm
Yeah.
sure.
But she didn't say it. It wasn't.
And I'm maybe even at that time. But what I'm saying is the way that she, you think that this story, as soon as the door closes, that we're gonna get this like, oh fuck moment.
Yeah.
But you don't. And my
That's
thought is like,
interesting.
well, that doesn't sound like a healthy relationship to be in,
and it's
right?
definitely
And
an
I-
uncomfortable position to be in, but it's
100%. But it's not that story. And I'm going to tell one other one. But that story to me is not good, but it's not as bad can get.
and also like
Yeah.
not normalizing it, but I feel like that's happens. I'm sure I've flipped my lid while Chris is in the
I
room.
definitely
and,
have.
and not
done that, yeah.
directed or traffic, just fucking screaming at the other cars while somebody's in the car with me. I'm sure that's very uncomfortable for them, but none of that energy was directed towards them.
Well, there's been times where I could probably count them on one hand, but there's been times where, Laura and I have been together since 96. There have been times where one of us has made the other one so angry at something or other, and strays are caught. Or I'm angry about something, and she interjects, and I'm like, and I'll tell you a fucking another, and a stray is caught.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting that that's what this is. I think this was a super unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, this is probably like normal for them, like every day. That can't be good.
But I just don't know if the music and the tone and what they were trying to paint it as actually matched what it was. I'm gonna give you another example. This one, in my opinion, was the uppercut. It was the intended uppercut of the storytelling of the horrific event. They're on the shoot of Heart-Shaped Glasses music video. You familiar with the song? Don't break my heart, and I won't break your heart-shaped glasses. I love that shit. But anyway,
No, I'm not familiar with that
dude,
at all.
that shit is hard as fuck. But so on the music video, they are intimate in bed, and they're supposed to be mimicking sex. right? They're both drunk and they're both high. And they have real sex. So what you see in the music video is them fucking.
It's good. It's good acting.
Well, it's not that much acting, is it?
Yeah.
And she paints this picture, like you can see the video footage of it. She's like stroking his neck. But she paints this picture of it like she was being taken advantage of. And maybe she is. Maybe when the smoke is all cleared, you can look at it like, fuck, like I would have never done that if I wasn't trying to be who he wanted me to be or something like that. And none of that
pressured into it.
And none of that is healthy, right? None of that is healthy. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But that's the end of it for me. You know, and like the camera crew and all is like, it's totally unprofessional. And I agree with that too.
Yeah.
I would imagine that Marilyn Manson has done a number of things that many would deem unprofessional.
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole lot of video footage of him like beating walls and kicking doors and all this stuff. And it's shown while she's telling her story about him getting angry with her. But I know where that footage is from. And it's from the documentary that he put out with the Antichrist record, where he's upset with like sound show shit and, you know, like other stuff. That
Nothing to do with
nothing to
deceptive
do.
editing.
And then I'm trying to think if there was one other thing that I wanted to address. Oh, you know, he has sued her. Like in the law, I will say this. I'm going to watch the rest of this.
Yeah.
I was expecting to have a Bill Cosby moment at the end of this,
Yeah.
where I'd be like, fuck, man, fuck, Bill, come on, dude. I haven't had that yet. I will say that in his lawsuit, there is more evidence, just evidence, to suggest his side of the story than hers.
Interesting.
See how it plays out.
And like, here's a question, right? There have been times, once again, 1996. There have been times I'm known in the middle of the night. I don't think I've ever said this before. I'm known to get handsy in the middle of the night. I'm known to, like in my sleep. Like I don't even realize I'm doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's a thing. We jokingly say, my wife and I, in the morning, she'll be like, "You molested me last night." Like that's a jokingly thing that she says that in my sleep I was at her, and she says that usually she's not sure if I'm awake or asleep, so she'll reach over and check my dick, and if it's ready to rock and roll, she knows I'm awake, and if it's not, she knows I'm asleep. So there have been times though, since 1996, where that has happened, and I have been intoxicated. And we have got into sex from it. And I'm going to be honest, complete transparency. During those times, maybe I could count them on one hand. Maybe I couldn't. There have been instances where I have gone in and out of consciousness, of a sleep state. Because it's in the middle of the night, and I'm fucked up, and I'm barely awake anyway. I'm not comparing the two. But if we get divorced today...
Yeah.
I'm never going to accuse her of rape. I'm just not. I think the two of them had an extremely unhealthy relationship. I think that they did a lot of alcohol. I think they did a lot of drugs. And the lines of consciously being okay with what they did is 100% up for debate. But whether or not it was monstrous, I can't call that from what I've been given.
Yeah. I mean, and I understand why things are the way they are, societal wise, why when two people get drunk and have sex, the man did something wrong, but never the woman, basically. When they, could be argued that you both as responsible. If you're both fucking drunk, both persons are drunk, and you both have sex.
Yeah.
And why is one party more responsible than the other? Unless, dudes try to get chicks drunk and fuck them. We know that. That's the thing. And that's why you assume the dude's guilty.
And right? I want to stress that I'm one episode in. It could be in the second episode that I see the monstrous act and I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. I just haven't seen it yet. I've seen unhealthy shit. I've seen toxic shit. I've seen shit that I would not want my daughters treated that way.
Right.
But sexual abuse...
It's different.
It's different. It needs to, and rape and these words need to have real meaning.
Yeah. Otherwise, it will fuck up
what it means.
And it will fuck up for people who were actually
and like I said, I'm not calling her a lie or anything like that.
No. You wait for the evidence.
Correct.
Because I mean, it's like the whole believe women thing back. I don't know, a year or two back. I'm like don't believe anybody until proven otherwise. Listen, definitely listen, and give everyone a fair shake. But
believe the evidence.
Yeah, I mean, just like a whole fucking Johnny Depp thing. Look what happened there.
Yeah.
That actually came to mind when you were.
And that's the problem with those people is like you are fucking it for everybody else. Like you, like
what happened there?
So
he was the one being abused.
Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
And you say
making sure I understood it.
And you said he's never cool again because you.
Yeah, I hate to say it.
You know, he wore the eye makeup and the dreads. I don't know if you remember all that. Yeah. That's what happened.
He was covering up.
He was covering up.
There was something else I wanted to say about it. God bless it. But yeah, I definitely I'm gonna watch the rest of it. And
is it all this one chick, or is it different chicks? Different episodes?
I believe it's all this one chick. But here's one.
Well, I'm sorry. Where is this?
HBO Max,
of course.
So why even bother?
So here's this one other thing I'm going to say about it. You and I have discussed in the past.
Yes,
correct. The archetype of human beings that need a guru.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. And once again, one episode in. She was with Marilyn Manson. She was doing drugs. She was doing alcohol. She was doing alcohol. Sounds really fucking dumb.
Sounds like you know what you're talking about.
I'm handy-capable.
Don't make that name of this episode, please.
But you know, she's drinking all the time. They're drinking like a absinthe. They keep saying absinthe. It's not technically absinthe, but it's fine. It's called absinthe. But
it goes straight to the head. That's all that matters.
But it's not the trippy shit of absinthe.
Yeah, like that's at the legendary.
Is correct. So, but anyway, they're doing all of these substances, right? And she's into that lifestyle. And then that lifestyle, that relationship parts ways. And she is now, I don't know if they're in a relationship, a friendship of sorts, but it's this woman, who I actually think is pretty attractive. But she works exclusively about abuse cases and abused women and battered women and blah, blah, like that's her bag. And now this person is talking a lot about abused people and battered people, and I can't help but also notice just from the back and from my state of male privilege, this is my truth, that it seems like another guru that she has allied herself with and is now kind of a disciple of. At first glance.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. I'm going to see the rest of it. His lawsuit is available.
Defamation?
It's available. It's available on his Instagram in his bio. The link to his lawsuit is there.
Is it defamation or what is it?
So I don't remember exactly how it's worded, the legalese of it.
Basically,
but I mean, like, there's documented cases of them being together and her talking about how free she makes him feel, and you know, there's. And maybe she was being forced to say that at gunpoint behind. I don't know.
I mean, we'll never know. We can only judge.
Correct. But looking at it from the back, at the evidence available, I'm not having the same reaction to this that I had to the Bill Cosby thing.
Yeah, you're not saying he's an angel by any means.
At all.
He's guilty of maybe being an asshole.
Correct.
And a terrible boyfriend or whatever.
Correct.
But maybe not an abuser.
Yeah. And
perhaps.
Abuser, and perhaps. Like,
it depends on the varying degrees, right? Abuser.
Correct. Yeah. It gets so, like, the lines get so blurred, right? I worked for a boss, right? Early in my career, who called me an idiot. I mean, I'm talking about, like, all the fucking time. And, like, I'll be honest with you. I love this dude. I would go to the end of the earth for him. I guarantee you that that there are psychological reasons why I haven't tried to promote because of that treatment. Because in my head, I still kind of view myself as the idiot. You know, even though in years since he's come up to me like, look, you should be that dude. Like, you know, you need to step up. You're him now. You need to, you know, I still doubt myself. I play, you know, because of that treatment.
Yeah.
And could somebody, all right. And with that, tasty taint.
Just real quick. So the complaint as filed was 1, intentional infliction of emotional distress. 2 is defamation per se. 3 is violation of the Comprehensive Computer Data and Access Fraud Act and impersonation over the internet. Jury trial demanded in all caps.
Jury trial demanded.
Yeah.
So
They showed evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and her real name's apparently Ashley Gore.
So,
Interesting.
Like Al Gore's.
Yeah, that's what it is. Al Gore's.
there's two more.
Algorithm.
But I'm sure that someone somewhere could define that treatment as abuse.
Yes. Emotional abuse or whatever.
However,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be who I am without that treatment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be as good, not to say that I'm something great, but I wouldn't be as good as I am, whatever level that is, without that treatment. And I value it.
Yeah, it's a fine line. Like,
Correct.
There's a gray area. There's definite abuse. There's definitely tough
Correct.
love, and then there's something in between.
Correct.
Because like
Correct.
being part of what makes me work out and have body dysmorphia is being bullied and
Being called a fat kid.
and it not being normal. Like in Asian cultures, parents call moms especially call the kids fat. It's a thing. So like being called fat all my life made me who I am now. I'm happy that I'm in the lifestyle I'm in now. So I can't really complain about those treatments. But like, and there's a fine line whether it was abuse or not.
Right. Yeah. The one other thing is that sometimes her wording gets a little tricky. And like,
Is this? I'm sorry. This is her telling the story, right?
yeah, well,
This is-
she's definitely the main interviewee. This is her shit. It's hers. So she met him when she was 18, and they started dating when she was 18,
How old was he at the time?
20 something.
Not like it's 33.
I want to say between 24 and 26.
Okay. It's normal.
And which is whatever, it's legal.
Yeah.
Right. To me, it's sketchy, but it's with that's my own subjectivity, right? Like that's my own, like if I was 26, look, the last thing I want to deal with is an 18-year-old since I've been 18. But I say that to say this. When she tells the story in courtrooms and stuff, because one of her goals was to get the statute of limitations expanded for abuse charges.
What?
Because by the time that she felt comfortable to tell her story, the statute of limitations was already up, so he couldn't be. Which I even understand.
I understand that.
Yeah. But she says, when my abuser started his abuse, I was a teenager.
It sounds very different.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
But you know that you are wording this a specific way.
Yeah.
You know, it's little stuff like that. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, because I was.
How old was he?
He was 36. She was 19
Yeah,
when
that's
they
what I was thinking.
announced their relationship.
They announced-
And he was still married to Dita Von Teese
But that's a big,
at the
big age gap.
time.
Yeah.
'Cause I was thinking, I was 26 and Krista was 19.
Okay, so 36. 36.
That's a much bigger gap.
And it still makes me feel, I'll be honest, either way, it makes me feel the same way. Like,
Yeah, that's
probably your guys aren't playing with the same deck of cards.
no. One is a full-grown person. One is like questionable.
Correct. But you didn't say I met him when I was 18.
You said a
You
teenager.
said I met him when I was a teenager.
Which
'Cause you're
automatically sounds like-
because you're trying to frame it away, and I understand. But to me, there's a lot about this that seems a lot about framing.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a legal way. I mean that in a how you're portraying the story.
Just like showing videos of him kicking walls and shit.
Correct.
Completely separate from
Correct.
what you're talking about.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we can get into the notes. And there are a few, not a ton, but a few. The end of an era. Maury Povich the Maury Show has been canceled.
Canceled.
After
Canceled.
31 years.
I didn't even know he was still going, to be honest. I like that show. That's one of the few I
I
watched.
think the pandemic kind of, it's kind of hard to do the You Are the Father bit with the pandemic and not being able to bring people in, but
I love that shit.
Povich says, 6 years ago when I was ready to retire, my NBC Universal family asked me to continue the show. Even though I told them I was ready for assisted living, out of loyalty to NBC
Assisted living?
and my more than 100 staff and crew members, Tracy Wilson and I agreed to one more deal. I'm so proud of my relationship with NBC, but as I occasionally tell myself, enough already.
How old is he? He's got to be old.
He's got to be
gotta
old.
be old.
And he's married to somebody.
Connie Chung?
Yeah.
which I haven't seen in years. But
Yeah, but I mean, she was big time also. But
she was a big time.
like legit, like reporter or something.
Yeah, she was like on
it's funny
NBC
like
News.
he's doing the Maury show. Not to say it's not legit.
See, the Maury show didn't start out the way it
No,
is.
it didn't.
It
but
was
like,
more like a
because,
Phil Donahue kind of show.
Yeah, but because that bit got so popular, that's all they did, which makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's
the lie detector test.
The thing here, the title is that Maury canceled after 31 seasons, but I'll be honest, it sounds like it was planned that he was going to.
It was planned. Yeah,
Again, it's framing.
Correct.
It sounds like he got canceled because he did something wrong.
100%,
it's like, no,
Joe.
like it's the end of the series.
Wow,
it's the series finale, bro. That's what it is.
He is 83.
Dude, make some noise for fucking Maury.
I had no idea he was that old.
He was ready for assisted living at 77, bro.
Wow. He married Connie Chung, who is, how old is she? So she's 75.
He married Connie Chung?
Yeah, they've been married
for a long time.
They've been married since 1984.
No shit.
Yeah.
I remember Current Affair.
Yes.
With the triangle.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I think they brought that back kind of recently on the internet somewhere.
It probably didn't work.
Remember Rescue 911, bro?
Oh, yeah.
And Jerry Springer was.
old girl shows.
Did you know Jerry Springer was the mayor of Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What you call,
Yeah.
dude, all right, so what's the best bit is the You Are the Father, right? Like the
Yeah.
Oh, you're not.
Dude, that's the best.
I remember somebody it was around the time everybody was like just taking the little meme clips and making, rap songs, and it was, that baby don't look like me, that baby don't look like me.
Dude, I remember like especially like, college years and shit. Like, like just being stoned or whatever and watching that shit, and like, being Mario and they'd like be sitting around like, you are not the father. We're like, hey! Dude, I've never rooted for the female. I mean, maybe this is a terrible conversation coming right off of the Marilyn Manson shit, but I've never rooted for the female in any of those Maury shows. I'm always looking at the baby pictures like, nah. Look at the nose.
Tabitha, this is the fifth time you've been on the show.
Yeah,
that's the ones that kill me. I'm like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, dude, it's like, but every time that they're like the dudes start dancing and shit, like I feel like all men win somehow. Like I feel like,
I mean, the sad truth of that is, I'd say 90% of that is all fake.
The only man, the only man that doesn't win is the young boy that doesn't have a father.
Yes,
I know
or have a mom that doesn't
know who the father is.
Yeah.
I follow this guy on social media that he showed some clips. He's like, me and my friends used to sue each other just to go on these TV shows. just
I've heard about shit like that.
Yeah,
so
like Jerry Springer.
like,
there's a lot of them are not staged by the show, perhaps.
Yeah,
some of them might be.
Yeah.
It's
and some of them are staged by the people who want to go on the show.
It's very heavily coached. They find people that fit this. I know a bunch of not a bunch. I know some wrestlers that have gone on there.
Right. It's the same showbiz.
Yeah.
The other thing that we have here, kind of business wise, is Amazon bought out MGM.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, man.
Times.
If you think about it.
It's just gonna be.
I mean, what's the last time you saw what's the last thing MGM put out of any consequence?
I don't know.
They own
8.5 billion.
The casinos.
It's just the catalog is what it's.
Yeah, so that's what I've been reading about, is that like, so basically these streaming platforms, a lot of them anyway, Amazon, Netflix for sure, are realizing that their home produced stuff is not paying the bills. So they're trying to acquire successful catalogs. Yeah. That like it's fucking Friends in The Office and shit like that's keeping the lights on.
Right.
It's not, Daredevil or whatever from on Netflix.
So here's a list of stuff, and honestly, I don't pay it. So the Bond stuff is MGM. The original Wizard of Oz, House of Gucci. And Bobby, I know you enjoyed that recently.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
great.
I sent you that video of it's Adam Driver doing a photo op, and he slides his hand. He thinks it's Lady Gaga, and it's
Jared Leto,
and his hand's like on his hip, and he just like
way in his hip.
I'm gonna show it to you, Joe. It is.
I don't want to see anything with Jared Leto in it. Don't show me.
No, it's worth it. I promise.
You might enjoy this.
Fuck himself.
Yeah, you might enjoy this though. But he like just because watch Adam Driver.
Watch his hand. Look at it. He just kind of pulls it back. Like, hey, you got the right shaped waist for me.
Yeah.
Hate that guy for no reason.
I know that is good. It's crazy. What were we just talking about? Oh yeah, that just acquiring these like major. You were going to read off more of those.
Yes. So, Wrath of Man, the Guy Ritchie film, Singing in the Rain, The Hobbit. I didn't realize
Hobbits, but not Lord of the Ring.
Yeah, The Hobbit and Unexpected Journey.
Is that
the Rocky franchise?
Wait, is that the movie or is that the cartoon from 1980? Whatever.
No, it's 2000.
Remember that? I have that.
Yeah,
it's a 2012.
It's an epic
film.
cover of the VHS.
It looks very much in the same Flight of Dragons vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
A Snake Eyes Origins movie. It's all the Bond stuff.
I prefer
21 Jump Street.
Nicolas Cage movie.
21 Jump Street. That was a good movie.
That was a good movie, man.
Poltergeist. A Christmas Story. Hey, there's Octopussy. A lot of old stuff. Dr. Zhivago. The Magnificent
My grandma
Seven.
loved that shit.
Magnificent Seven. Nobody should own Magnificent Seven. That goddamn story is everybody's.
Apparently there's 109 movies under their banner that have been released.
So that seems to be like a lot of what these
Bill and Ted Face the Music, Barbershop, The Next Cut.
these big,
only the second one, not the first one.
These big streaming companies are afterwards though are catalogs.
Yeah,
that's like the new thing.
Well, that's why in wrestling recently, AEW bought Ring of Honor, and part of that was for their catalog because they have 20 years of wrestling that is like the basis for everything that's out now. So yeah, a lot of people are just scoffing. I mean, WWE did that with pretty much every folded wrestling promotion. They bought the catalogs from the Houston Wrestling, the Dallas Wrestling, the Mid Atlantic. They own pretty much everything.
Did you happen to see also that the trailer for We Own This City?
I didn't.
So it's same people that made The Wire. It's another Baltimore story.
I heard about it. I didn't get a chance to see the trailer.
I think it might be a telling of that like special weapons unit or whatever that was like corrupt as fuck in Baltimore City.
Oh, the gun task force.
Yeah, I think.
Is the Punisher in it?
Yes.
His name.
So it looks
that seems
that's good enough.
No, but also yeah.
Unless you know who the key group
Well, he's
is.
a big DMV guy.
No. I'm saying that's like on I don't know. The Punisher is now. I was thinking actually the Punisher.
John Barenthal.
No, not the actor, but the Punisher being in that unit.
Oh,
would make sense.
You don't know what kind of sticker they had on their van. So.
Yeah, true. He's a big. What makes you say he's a big DMV?
I think he lives in DC.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
I will say this. It looks great. I have no doubt that it's going to be incredible. I am 100% in.
Is that on HBO, Bobby?
Oh yeah, of course. I couldn't be more in, so to speak. With that being said, if I had one criticism of almost all of these shows based in Baltimore,
they sound like they're from New York.
They sound like they're from fucking New York.
They don't say water.
Like there's just very rarely does anybody sound like they're actually from Maryland.
They need to add some Old Spice, Old Bay in that bitch.
Yeah, there's
and
one
some Old Spice. Probably.
I will say there was like there's one heavy set lady that was in The Wire that definitely sounded, and then of course Snoop from The Wire, but she's from Baltimore. But like for those that like The Wire. There's another show that predates it. That's a miniseries called The Corner.
I've heard of it. I've never watched it before.
It's fantastic. It's tragically beautiful in every possible way. I highly recommend it. But it's based on the guy who worked for the Sun, the Baltimore Sun, not like for somebody who's like out of town or whatever.
The newspaper, Baltimore Sun.
How the fuck you get a job with the Sun? They stayed with this family. They basically, I think, paid this family to stay with them and document them for like a year. And in the course of this year, they track the events of this family. And it's fucking what happens in this 1 year is probably more eventful than most people's lives in 30 years. Mm-hmm. But they it's some of the things. It's like, man, like it's like one of those like you can't make this shit up.
Yeah,
it's like that level of shit where it's just like, God bless, man. Like, how did this happen? How does this happen? Rather to a family, but it's tragic and it's beautiful and it's amazing, and that felt a little bit more like Maryland to me than a lot of. But I'm definitely 100% in.
Hey, real quick, rewind. I forgot something on my Nerd Week. Charlie's birthday was Wednesday, and we went to a trampoline park.
Yes.
Wow. I'm out
and
of
nobody
shape.
died.
Nobody died. I jumped. They have a foam ball. Have you guys ever been to a trampoline park? You've been to one? They have like a full ninja warrior course there.
Yeah.
And like I have no business anywhere near it. I thought I tore my hand open on
It's kind of surprising how much of a workout it is.
It is. Like I mean, they had a foam
like a cardio workout. Just all the,
you had nonstop bouncing around. You have to
you don't think
adjust for
about
that
it,
shit.
like, because you think about the trampoline doing all the work.
No.
It's just like fucking walking on the beach. It's like it's fucking work.
Right,
People are like,
right.
I like to take long walks on the beach. No, go fuck yourself.
And the thing is about these trampolines is you have to. It's more of like mentally taxing that. Okay, I have to make sure my feet are where they need. They had a foam pit, and I was able to jump in. My goal was
how
to
do you
do
get
some,
out?
It's
You're so big and long, so to speak.
It was challenging, but I did some flips into the foam pit, so that was my goal. And I didn't die.
Yeah, I had a good time when I went.
It was fun.
They had like a ball, so to speak, like in mine, like dodgeball.
Yeah,
type,
yeah.
Dude, I fucking pegged Jana in her fucking big head so hard. It was like one of them hits with the ball where you go, ping! Like
Yes, dude, that's a very specific sound. The dodgeball sound, the smell and sound of the dodgeball brings me back.
Yeah,
dude, I hit her in her fucking head so hard.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. That was a fun time.
The official trailer for Halo dropped, like the full length trailer. Did you watch it?
Yeah, it's on Paramount though. Who's gonna watch this?
For the movie?
Yeah, for the movie.
Is it a movie or is it a series?
Or I think maybe it's a series. Okay, looks good.
Yeah, I like the movie. The movie's on Netflix.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
I don't know anything of Halo. I mean, I know what Halo is, but
I mean, the creatures and shit look on point. Like the weapons look on point. The worlds look on point.
Master
like the
Chief
armor looks on point.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I think it looks promising.
I would watch it if it wasn't on Paramount.
Same. And then lastly, the Miss Marvel trailer. Did you happen to watch that?
I didn't see
the trailer, but I saw stills of it.
Yeah, I saw some stills. That's about as far as I got. Honestly, that's one of those things that
I'm not interested.
I'll watch it when it comes out.
I'm not sure about it.
Just mainly to keep up with the lore.
Yeah, I mean, it
I
doesn't.
haven't watched it. Booga.
It does.
You're good. Just watch those two.
That's the Alabama version.
You need to watch, I think, the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I still wanted to watch those 3 episodes, but I need to
It doesn't look good to me, but like on top of that, it's like there's a lot of like like a young girl.
Well, let's watch it real quick. Okay.
All right, stand by.
it.
So we've now all watched it. That's
I think we're just not a demographic for it is all.
Well, I think that
was
for sure.
Literally, I was thinking that same thing.
I'm sure it's good for whatever they were aiming for.
I mean,
whoever they were aiming for.
it kind of.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I watched the Cobra Kai show, so I understand the teenage angst. Obviously, it's a coming of age story. I mean, like, it's not for us.
I'll tell you. Here's my cynical side. I can't help it. I'm a cynical person, but the one line that like survived from like the other teasers, right, was the brown girls from Newark don't become superheroes, right? And I would imagine that they're going to lean into that a little bit. And I'm all for female empowerment, especially as a father of 3 daughters.
Yeah.
But when you have The Weeknd playing over top with such famous hits as Often, where he talks about bringing in all the pussy, how about wet, like, I can't help but say, like, come on. Like, it's just my cynical side.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, empower the shit out of them. Get The Weeknd to come in here and do lines off all their fucking asses. And, you know what I mean? I'm like, whatever, man. It looks like shit to me. I hate to say it. It doesn't, like, I'm sure, mainly because it looks like it's not for my demographic. Yeah. But, like, I don't know if that's the good call. I don't know if that's the right call for that franchise. Like, to Marvel to say, like, look, let's make something for 16-year-olds. Like, I'm pretty sure the 16-year-olds are enjoying Marvel as is. How old was Mason when he was he enjoying Marvel at 16?
Like 12. It was, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Still enjoying it. It's like, I feel like you don't need to do this. It's already kind of malleable enough, comics in general, where they kind of grab the 5-year-old, the teenager. Like, everybody gets something different out of it, right? Like, that's kind of the beauty of comics or anime probably too, and sci-fi in general, is like the 5-year-old thinks the lights and sounds and costumes are cool, and the 16-year-old thinks the badass claws and capes and whatever gadgets are cool, and then the adult is like sees like the heart and merit and kind of underlying messages and breaks down Thanos's intentions and so there's something for everybody already. I don't feel like you need to pigeonhole it into something else. That's my own.
I think it's a good thing for like it as a universe as a whole, as a franchise, to have just more different things, just more diversity in characters and also demographics.
I'm okay with the character,
just to have a full universe.
I think it's going to
it's something for everybody.
I mean, Peter Parker is in high school.
Peter Parker's not a brown girl from New York.
No, I'm okay with the character.
Yeah,
but Peter Parker is in high school.
Yeah,
and it's not marketed to children in any way different than Captain America is.
Right.
And whereas we all see this and we're like, this is clearly marketed to a younger audience. That's
like
what I'm
preteens.
talking. I'm not talking about the demographics of the character. I'm talking about the demographics of the target audience. Is what I just don't see as necessary.
Is it possible that
I would imagine there's some market research behind that.
Well, and I'm just judging it off the rollout.
Two things from a company's perspective. Why not get all of them?
Because they already got them. Is my point. That's my point. Mason was already in.
I'm saying, but like...
Yeah, but Mason's not a brown girl from Jersey City.
Dude, I'm saying... Like,
once again, we're talking about the demographics of the character and not the demographics... I'm talking about the demographics of the target audience.
I'm saying...
Me
that's
too.
what I'm saying also.
So you think that brown people from Jersey have not been into Marvel Comics. You were into Marvel Comics far before Shang-Chi.
But you know what? Shang-Chi made me love it more. Shang-Chi made me feel included, bro. Like, I'm telling you.
Which is fine, but you're not watching it any more or less than you were before.
No, but it makes me feel better about the whole thing.
But see, and guess what? Shang-Chi isn't marketed to 16-year-olds.
But it was marketed to...
Like, both of you keep kind of coming from this perspective about...
I think we're arguing about different things, bro.
I agree. That's what I'm trying to make clear. I'm not talking about the fact that she's a brown girl from Jersey. I'm talking about the show being marketed towards 12-year-olds when everything is already marketed towards 12-year-olds.
It's not... I guess. I don't see it the same way. I don't see it the same way. You can say Shang-Chi's already... Like, Shang-Chi is marketing towards every other action movie demographics. And then it also makes me feel extra good.
That's my point.
So like
so why not do that with this?
What do you mean?
I don't understand why.
Exactly.
Like, I think me and Pinkerton are on the same page. And
yes, like, and I'm telling you that I understand your guys' perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand yours.
The teeny bopper marketing of it.
Yes.
Not the demographics of the character, the demographics of the audience.
But the demographics of the character has something to do with the demographics of the audience.
Correct.
But I agree. And I'm good with that portion of it.
Yeah.
Just like the demographics of the character of Shang-Chi has something to do with the demographics of the audience.
Yes.
But they still made it for everyone age-wise. Whereas this seems like a teeny bopper show.
Yeah, but why not?
Because you don't need to. Why pigeonhole something when it's already working? Why take something and limit it down when it's already... If you're capturing everything from 5 to 40... why zero in on 13 to 15?
I think it's easy. I don't know if it's easier, but like you can narrow the focus of a scope of something better when it is focused. Like when you're trying to make something that everybody like versus let me make something that this particular group of people will really like, or that we think will really like, and capture them harder and longer.
I mean, I'm always down for that.
you know what I mean? Like, you can get someone to curse really like something, or you can get somebody to love something.
Yeah, I don't think that's...
In my eye.
And is this the first trailer we've had from this?
No.
So
I mean, it's the first one I've seen.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
the next trailer...
We've watched other ones. We've talked about it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they've all been about as remarkable as this one, to be fair. But this one has had more information in it, and this one has had more of a vibe established in it. Whereas that's what's a turnoff to me. And it's not like I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. It's not for me. But
see, I'm gonna watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Oh,
I mean, and look, that whole...
You say I watch
that
trash.
whole.
I mean, I might.
I watch things I think I like. You watch things you know you don't like.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that whole scene with the, talking to the counselor or whatever. I mean that may be a running theme through the whole show, or it may just be kind of a setup for the first episode.
I think that just to be clear, like the character demographics of being, of Middle Eastern descent,
Muslim,
of Islam,
second generation,
all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm on board for.
Yeah.
And I think adds an interesting spice to the soup. I just don't understand why the soup has always been for everyone, and now it seems like this soup is like, if you're 16, you're not allowed in. It's like a club in Miami or something.
Yeah, I guess I just don't see it that hard.
Like, do you think that Twilight? I don't think it's that hard of a line either. But do you think that Twilight is intended for the 40-year-old? Demo wise,
No, that wasn't the target audience for that. Although many 40-year-olds loved it.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
There's a lot of glittery vampires out there.
Do you think that that's the majority of their demo?
I think I think sometimes there may be crossover
Maybe now
demos.
because it was
like,
10 years ago. Because it was 10 years ago.
I don't know how many.
I think certain things can be aimed towards like the teenage crowd and like not single, but like housewives. Sometimes have maybe crossover demographics.
Yes.
I think certain demographics might have crossovers.
No, and I'm sure this will as well. I'm just saying that it's like when we all sit there collectively and look at it and say, this ain't for us.
Yeah.
That's the first time I felt that way about a Marvel property.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm completely fine with it not being for me.
But that's a separate conversation.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
but my thing is, I think it might be a better. I'm saying it is could be a better product for that demographic than it is.
Could be. All right, now what if it's not?
I don't know.
No, I'm saying now what if it's not?
Then it fucked up.
Okay, because like my thing is like I just don't know. I'm not making these business decisions, and it's very comfortable to make them from my cushioned stool.
Yeah, and just like no guns on toys.
Like I mentioned, guys, these companies aren't just throwing shit against the wall. There's been market research done to see if a good demographic is.
But there's also plenty of failures based on that market research.
There are. I'm just saying this wasn't like they were just throwing dirty underwear against the wall to see what sticks.
No, I don't. But I don't think it's that either. But I do think it is. I think there is large amounts of media meant to be zeroing in on a demographic that really doesn't appreciate it, and by and large it often goes by the wayside. Instead of trying, like, if the smart move for me, right, for Nerd Rage is to make it 100% about third party Transformers. You know what I mean? But I don't want to. I want to make it as expansive as possible. And I think that Marvel films, what has made them so successful, and I think it's what doesn't make stuff like Man of Steel successful in the same way, is that everybody, it's literally for everybody, right? It's white bread. It's vanilla ice cream. It's like, it's not trying to exclude anyone. It's trying to have something safe. And I mean that not in a very 2022 way, but you know what I mean? For everyone. Yeah. And this is the first time where I'm looking at something and I'm like, this seems like it was created with zeroing in on an audience. And I don't know why, as a content creator myself, now nowhere near on the same level, you would ever make something trying to be exclusive.
I mean, but things are made that way, though, right? Media is made that way. Media is media,
but not Marvel.
No, not Marvel per se. But like, I mean, aren't there Marvel kid shows now? There's no cartoon Marvel shows that's just for kids, like with the
Superhero Squad and stuff. I don't know if there's anything actively out there right now new.
But I mean, yes, but I mean that's something different, right? Because it's not trying to be for everyone. It's specifically trying. Like, I think this is trying to be accessible to everyone, but it's really dialed in on a younger audience.
I mean, would that not be the same for some? Of course, there are like much more. Many of the properties for everyone, not zeroing on anything, right?
Yeah,
but I feel like don't you think some of the movies have a certain aim towards, even though it is for everybody, that like Shang-Chi, that certain demographics would be aimed at?
I personally don't think so. I think you could make the argument more so with Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I think
for everybody, but there's one particular demographic they're aiming for.
But to me, that is the point, is that while it leaned in, it always seemed like this is on brand.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's might be heavier of an ingredient in the soup, but it's the same soup. This feels like a different soup to me. If like, it almost seems like something that belongs on WB to me. Looking at it, like it doesn't.
It does.
Yeah, and that's the turnoff to me about it. And it's more so about like, man, like this doesn't even seem like it belongs.
Like for me,
and
I'm thinking,
once again, we're judging just based on rollout.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't even watched the fucking show.
Correct.
This is just a discussion. But I'm just thinking on like as I often do when I try to look at age groups and demographics, putting myself in those shoes if I know those shoes. So like I'm putting myself in a situation when I was much younger, that perhaps something that I could connect to more if it wasn't trying to please everyone else, right? If this show was aimed for this demographics, talking about issues that a 14-year-old has to deal with, it's easier to zone in on that without having to try to make it palatable for everyone else also. Because like for a lot of adults,
maybe
because a lot of we might be more in touch with our inner child.
Maybe
some people are
that's
not. Some people
true.
are not.
That's probably
like some
true.
people will completely not be able to wrap their heads around the problems of a 14-year-old.
But I will tell you, as a kid, as a teenager, I often, could definitely tell when something was dialed in on me, and rarely was it ever what I wanted. You know what I mean? It was always,
you weren't trying to drink Ecto Cooler when you were a kid. Okay, you were not, Bobby. I don't know what Bobby's never been. I don't know that you've ever been the target audience for anything.
Yeah, he's built different.
Maybe black sweatpants, but that's about it.
But like when I was 15, 16, like the teenage bopper shit seemed corny to me. Like I didn't like. I liked the older stuff and I connected more to it. I feel like, and I didn't watch 90210 religiously. Girls did.
I did.
But so did adults.
But you
adults
and I led a very different life as teenagers.
Yeah. We
all did.
Different lives, yeah. We all did, but I'm trying to think of like the general.
I'm going to hold judgment until I at least see the first episode, but I
mean, of course, I am too.
This is just discussion.
I just like having a discussion on a podcast.
And it may be. That's allowed. It's at least something different. And hey, if it had just been run of the mill, we probably wouldn't have just talked about it for
a long time.
And once again, I want to express to the listeners, like I don't feel passionate about it one way or the other. It's just that it's an interesting thing, in my opinion, to discuss.
Yep.
All right. Questions. Mike P says, Yo Ragers, heard you talking about Elden Ring and thought I would weigh in on it.
Oh, good.
I started playing Dark Souls a couple months ago on my Switch.
Hello?
Because someone explained it as a darker adult Zelda. And the boss element where you need to analyze their patterns to defeat them, and it could be linked to the Mega Man games. Now, Elden Ring to me is this, but in an open world without the restrictions on where you can go, like in Jedi Fallen Order, which I think is what you equated it to. I would equate Elden Ring to an adult Zelda Breath of the Wild. In these games, there are various classes found in fantasy, but the best by far is the wizard.
Wizard sleeves.
Just kidding. They're all the fucking wizard in that game because you need to use magic to make a dent in this hard-ass game. Don't play it if you think you want to play older ones. It's so much better that I couldn't imagine going back.
Yeah, no. I mean, they progressed so much further.
I think I'm going to go in on it.
Yeah.
Really?
Even if honestly, half
it's
of
great.
Half of it I just want to look at shit to get ideas. So
you just get mad
because
you won't go anywhere. You won't go anywhere to see anything because you won't get there.
I'll figure it out.
There's no easy mode. These games they don't make an easy mode.
That's right.
We got
like
another
hard mode and harder mode.
We got another write-in about how they found the show.
Nice.
I used to listen to Beer and Bolters.
Oh wow!
And
I was on that for a couple episodes.
Me too. And heard NRR was coming. I'm happy to say I have been with y'all since day one.
Oh, bless up.
I wish I didn't think it was rude to reach out and hang when I lived in Glen Burnie.
Oh God, all this
I know. I hate hearing that. I don't currently have the funds to contribute to Patreon, but the wife knows it's on the docket. I'm not reading any more of this email. No, I'm not reading the rest of your email until you get a cola raise. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. That being said, what websites do y'all use to find pre-orders for figures? I'm new to collecting. I collect the Samurai, Star Wars, and Marvel characters. I'm having a difficult time finding where to learn about the pre-orders. I lost out on one of the newer figures because of not knowing where to find them. I'm dreading the late fee, but we'll get it at some point. Thanks, fellas. Love the content, and my wife does listen with me when we are driving.
One lady. Two ladies.
It's by proxy. She doesn't do podcasts on her phone, but when we get in the car, she asks about the Maryland Ragers. So y'all got one lady listening. So shout out to her.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that about pre-orders because we were actually just talking about.
So
to sign up for the newsletter for BTS.
Yeah, BBTS.
They will know what if you buy something from them. They will start honing in on you with an email like, "Oh, you've ordered this before. You might like this also."
They'll zero in on your demo.
That's it. They will, and it's almost especially like if I put an anime figure in my pile of loot for one of my family, and every time you might be interested in this Neandroid.
Talk
figure.
about it. Same thing has happened here.
Android?
Yeah, whatever, however you say it.
I bought Jaina some of these quintessential quintuplets.
Wow, you said that shit right.
Characters because she's been into them and asked for them for like getting straight A's on her report card. But now I get all these updates about all these, like, as soon as I see all those K's or J's, I just swipe.
Yeah.
but sometimes I'll be honest, like sometimes like I see him and I'm like, is this one you need? You know, and then she'll be like, no. I'm like, all right.
If this is import stuff and you know BBTS is going to get it, it's just going to be a little bit longer. You can go directly to some of the Japanese websites. I've used AmiAmi over the years with great success. Anime Export.
I've used Anime Export
and HobbyLink Japan. Some of them you have to pay up front, which kind of sucks.
Anime Export you have to pay up.
I know. AmiAmi you don't, but if you don't pay a pre-order, I think they actually lock your account down unless you call them and ask them about it.
HobbyLink is my favorite to use.
HLG,
You don't have to pay up front. And they're pretty good about, but I've heard that they're like the BBTS of, so like they're pretty good about any language barrier. They're pretty good about responding to customer service emails. And when I say customer service, I I would just talk if I order multiples by accident, and I hit them up like, dude, I don't want this anymore or whatever. Like I've never had a problem. I strongly recommend HobbyLink Japan. The only time I order from Anime Export is when HobbyLink Japan is sold out because Anime Export takes a little bit longer to sell out because you got to pay up front.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, AmiAmi, I've the last two Mayfix figures that I'll ever buy, I bought from there, and both of them had issues, and they on their end corrected what was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you have to take a picture of the broken thing with like the box it came in for, make sure it was the one you got from them or whatever. But I mean, there's a ton of other. If it's something specific,
if you're patient, I'll do BBTS just because, if you can do the pile loot and then you pay $4 shipping for everything you have.
I often use them as my safety too if I'm ordering from somewhere else.
And you don't have to pay up front either.
Right.
Easy cancel pre-order.
Well, they do have deposits on some stuff now.
Well, if it's like $300 or something on like exclusive figure from Japan, it makes sense, and it's not crazy high.
No.
Yeah. Shane G. Good afternoon, you magnificent nerdy bastards. Questions aplenty today. This one goes to everyone. What was the comic you read that when you finished it, you realized you were a comic fan forever? Doesn't have to be a specific issue. It can be a series or miniseries. For me personally, it was Fatal Attraction storyline through X-Men. Watching Magneto rip the adamantium from Wolverine's body made my teenage heart jump for joy, since I always felt that angry little dwarf always deserved it.
I had the issue.
So we'll go into this. So for me, I think I fell in love with the art way before I fell in love with the story. I think that I'll be honest, while I loved the art and I bought it mainly for the art for years and years and years, I think the first story that I really enjoyed was probably Jim Lee's relaunch of X-Men. I know that sounds cliche.
What was it, 91? Something like that. It was the year. It was the year I migrated to America, and that was the first thing I looked at, and I was like, I love this art.
It was different. Seeing Magneto come back. I knew he was dead. I'd read other X-Men books, so I'd heard his name mentioned. But to see you heard the name, now meet the man. To come in that big double spread page where he's got the cape thrown open and all the acolytes are with him. I was like, fuck, Even the little shit you could always tell when it was a new X-Men arc because it always opened with them with the training session in the danger room.
Danger room.
Like, I think that was it for me.
Mine was this Punisher War Journal 6 and 7 when he fights Wolverine.
It's old school right there.
Yeah, was
that Jim Lee too?
It's Jim Lee.
Yeah.
It's Jim Lee. So, you know, I remember, like, and I got issue 7 first. Like, so there was this cover.
Yeah, I remember it.
And then I backtracked. I remember the first time I ever went to a comic shop was to buy a back issue of Warzone, War Journal number 6, which was the one with you know, Wolverine's got the claws. So that was the first time I really loved the art, but the story really got me.
That's
the way they told that story.
It's funny that Jim Lee's like the tie that binds.
It is, man.
I listen to Rob Liefeld's podcast on occasion. Like, I'm subscribed to it, but I base my listening off of the title. And he makes Jim Lee out to be the biggest asshole in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
I don't know. You know, obviously there's some bias in there. Yeah. And he always says, like, after it, like, he'll shit on him or paint a picture of my frame. He'll do some framing. And then after
like
the framing,
he does with his drawings where you see no feet.
Correct. He frames the feet right out. He'll do some framing, and then after he's done the framing, he'll be like, but I love Jim. I love Jim. I love Jim. You know, he's great talent. He's a great talent. And keep it moving. But he basically says, like, the reason why we never, there was a Image United was like a book that was supposed to launch like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and all of the original Image comic book creators were supposed to be involved. McFarlane was doing some of the inking, and this one was doing some of the coloring. They were all like actively working on it. Was going to be like a one and done story, you know, of a like kind of a swan song from the Image creators to Image Comics. And Jim Lee was the only one that was like, nah.
I mean, he was
excuse me, sir,
doing stuff.
I'm good. wait. Hello? Is this thing on? I'm good.
Isn't he some big shot in DC or something?
Yeah, he's the CEO.
He is now, yeah.
I guess they wouldn't take him moonlighting for...
I'm assuming. Yeah, they wouldn't. Moon knighting?
Yeah, moon knighting. See, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
For Bobby, being a Nine Inch Nails fan myself, what was the song by them that really locked in your love for them? For me, it was Head Like a Hole. I'll tell you, man, I have controversial thoughts on Nine Inch Nails and Head Like a Hole and all that. So the song that locked in for me is a song called Wish. It's in my top 5 favorite songs of all time. It's extremely fast for those that know it or don't know it. And there's this one part where the song goes 100% silent for just a second. And then drop. I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it. Hold on 1 second. It's hard as fuck.
I immediately became a high school kid again when that song. As soon as that came on, it's like, oh, I'm back in high school.
Dude, that fuck it. Like that shit was this like you know, I was never a huge rock fan. I liked rock. I liked Metallica. I liked Megadeth. I liked Guns N' Roses for sure. Nirvana. But when I heard that shit, it was like everything that he was saying was like how I felt in my soul. And what's funny, and you might enjoy this, is that his music his artistry specifically during that time has often been described as the sum of dissatisfaction.
Yes.
That's
yes. And that is you.
That's why you like
you
it.
are. Bobby is
dissatisfied face.
Bobby, what year is that song from? Do you know?
91, I think.
Because, I mean, honestly, sonically, it's what we just listened to. It sounds like it was recorded in a bathroom.
Sounds amazing.
From across the room. It's just
amazing.
I don't know. The vocals are just very canny.
I love it. It's a specific
92.
sound.
92. Okay.
But like all that shit, you know, build it up, now take it apart, climbed up real hard, climbed up real high, now fall down real far. It was just like, that's how I fucking feel.
It's great shit. Until he got jacked and you don't like him no more.
Yeah, then he's like,
he's not that. You can't be that unsatisfied if you're that jacked.
Correct, or vulnerable. It's like, just fight your problems.
He's sad about his gains, bro.
Yeah.
He's not getting
the
cuts.
His gains are often the most insecure people.
He's not getting the cuts that he wants.
So here we go about that. That song to me defined Nine Inch Nails as a sound, and that sound stayed with them from then through Downward Spiral, through Fragile. It gets a little bit off course with Teeth, but then it comes back with Year Zero, and that's like my era of Nine Inch Nails. Now, some Nine Inch Nails fans hate to hear it because I don't include Pretty Hate Machine in that. Now, let me make it clear. I love Pretty Hate Machine, but to me, that wasn't Nine Inch Nails. That was Trent trying to figure out what Nine Inch Nails was.
That was a prequel.
And when he did Wish, he figured it out. And it was like, and I love Head Like a Hole. I love Terrible Lie. I love Sin. I love, what's the sad song? Something I can never have.
Heart of it.
I love all that. Something I can never have. Fucking Batman should have had that on his goddamn playlist with fucking Something Gets in the Way. Something's in the way. Something I can never have.
Parents. But, can't have parents.
Oh wait.
Man, we need a pearls hidden in the ground.
But yeah, that to me, Wish is it.
I think most people is Closer, probably.
Yeah, that's definitely their biggest song for sure. But yeah, Wish is that shit is different with a capital D, so to speak. All right.
Which one? What's the name of the song? Doesn't it make you feel better?
That's one tonight.
I love that one. That one got
everything
me.
Is all.
Yeah, that one is the one that was like, oh, I went from liking this shit to loving this.
So
shit.
That's March of the Pigs.
Yeah, I think I like Hand That Feeds would probably be my favorite Nine Inch.
So that's one of their biggest hits as well. That's off the With Teeth album.
I'm sorry, I picked a hit.
Chris,
I like that too.
She loves Nine Inch Nails too. Hers is favorite. Perfect Drug.
Oh yeah, Perfect Drug. So Perfect Drug, I'm gonna get to a deep dive. Perfect.
I like Nine Inch Nails. I don't talk about music much, but it's something I actually know.
Is there an actual deep dive on Patreon?
There is. There's a Bobby Boogie Bop on Nine Inch Nails. Perfect Drug is great because the song is the effect of a drug. It when you take it like you could feel the bubbling ding 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 ding, and then
talk to me
and then like
drugs,
and then like it fucking it gets in and it hits and then at the very end there's this fade off when everything drops out and it's just the piano. Without you everything falls apart. Like it's fucking.
Dude, like I used to be big into drugs in high school.
That dude was on to something.
I mean, he was on something.
Yeah, that too. Well, usually I would say he was more of a drinker. Manson was the big
flyer
and a flyer and a driver.
My old man was a bit of a drinker,
but Manson was the big drug guy.
Yeah.
And Trent was the drinker. But it's they're both sober now, for better or for worse. Depending on if you're talking to me as a fan or their physician. So,
fair.
Joe, what anime stands out to you as the pivotal anime that any person looking to get into watching should be as a good starting point?
Okay, I always say that's a tough one because I do get that question a lot on stream and stuff.
Because you consider anime and largely a media genre, not a genre of film.
Exactly, because everyone has different genres that they like without anime. Just talking about genres in general. Like Chris doesn't like fucking horror, right? And some people love sci-fi, some people love fantasy. So like depends on what you like.
So let me help him.
For me, it's gonna be Gurren Lagann. Everyone should watch that shit.
Is that a sci-fi?
Sci-fi fantasy.
Okay, so sci-fi fantasy is
Gurren Lagann.
That one.
My favorite thing of all time.
What if it was action? Same. What if it was drama?
Not that. Death Note, maybe.
Death Note. What if it was...
Because I'm trying to think of mainstream things someone can get into the weeds. So,
what if it was horror?
Parasite.
All right, so there's three to get you started.
Well, I mean, what about My Hero Academia? I mean, I know that's super mainstream.
That's the mainstream. That's a superhero. If you like superhero stuff, My Hero is great.
And I mean, I enjoyed the first season of One Punch Man.
One Punch Man is great.
It's pretty digestible.
Just good. Yeah, if just easily digestible thing, but not from. Despite how wide the demographic that has, not everyone's going to enjoy it because it's so wacky.
Yeah, One Punch Man has actually been one that I've been curious about.
I feel like you would enjoy it.
Really?
You could, because it's episodic enough, and like the character, I think you can connect to the character.
That's one I've always been. I mean, since we was talking about it way back in the day.
Right. I mean, like
I heard about that through Nerd Rage.
Dude,
yeah. It's funny.
That's crazy. It's been out.
I remember where I am when I hear. Like I remember you guys were talking about that.
You were here already.
I was driving from. I somehow was in like Auburn, Alabama. I was driving. I think there was a store that was going out of business. I was going by to just check out, and I remember specifically I was on some like neighborhood trying to figure out how to get out of it, and you guys were talking about one thing. It's weird.
I remember like the first time you guys breaking it down for me, like what it was about and all that. Like
I remember when you first came on this show, I was in the parking lot of the Walmart in Meridian, Mississippi. I'm like, who's this guy?
And what a Walmart it was.
Yeah, it was.
Chris, what wrestling was the match or show you can look back on and say that's when your love for it started. Mine will always be Flair versus Funk. That sounds like a compilation album, I'm going to be honest. In a I Quit match from Clash of the Champions in '89.
Yeah, that's old school stuff. Man, I watched wrestling in my youth. I really got really heavy back into wrestling around the NWO days. So, probably some of that stuff, the WCW stuff in the late '90s, like DDP's run. I enjoyed that. That'd probably be my answer to some of that stuff.
Okay. He says, thanks for all the laughs and good times. Stay nerdy, keep raging. Old Blaster wrote in, number 1, shout out to all the key grips out there in the world.
Do you think there's just 2 guys doing all the work?
I'm going to start learning them. You know what I mean? I'd be like, dude, I really like the key grip work on such and such.
You can go on IMDb and find out all sorts of stuff.
There's some key grip out there like, dude, what I do actually matters to the, you know what I mean?
I'm sure it does.
And I'm sure it does.
More so than the producer, probably.
Yeah, probably. Fans Toys Blaster has a weird penis, and nobody wants to have a weird penis. So that's true. I don't know if you guys have seen the reveals for Fans Toys Blaster.
I don't think it looks good.
I don't think it looks good.
No, it's the fucking goddamn G1 accurate shit.
It's too much, man.
Stop it. Takara's doing it. You had your lane fucking...
See, like...
Stick in it.
And I have a conversation about this coming, so to speak, but like...
With a weird penis.
If everybody's tracing the same lines,
talking about that one.
There's no fucking reason to have any sort of preference. And like, it just... The reason why Fans Toys hooked me the way that they did was because Quake Wave was fucking awesome and uniquely theirs.
Yep.
And like, even if you look at it, and I've said this, I think somewhere recently, but like, if you look at a cartoon image of Motormaster and you look at Fans Toys Motormaster, it's obvious that the inspiration comes from the cartoon, but they do not look identical.
Right.
And it's like, if you draw Blaster and I draw Blaster and Joe draws Blaster, all 3 Blasters are going to be different. And then it's up to someone to decide which of the 3 Blasters they like best.
Yes. Right.
But if we're all just tracing the same Blaster, like who gives a shit? Yeah. Like it's killing some of it for me. Like, and I hate to be like, I feel like I'm on this Debbie Downer. I'm still a defender. I still got my card. They haven't ripped it up yet.
Some of dissatisfaction.
And I'm a bigger fan of dissatisfied. And third, you all forgot the most important superhero bush, Thanos. His bush is half shaved, half grassy. He calls it perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
That's great. That is perfect.
Dude, amazing.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm not excited about the well, not that I'm really buying third party, but I'm not excited about the not Turbobots, Starbots. It looks dumb. Yeah. It looks just like the cartoon. Dumb.
Yeah.
I hate it. I do like the fucking. I didn't know that existed until I saw your video on the third party review of the Windblade.
Dude, it looks perfect.
Nice anime shit, bro.
It looks perfect. Paul C., you know what I want to talk about today? Magazines. I know that Pinkerton still receives magazines now. Do you really? Dude, don't ever talk about my DVD player again.
No, hang on.
You can't like the Washingtonian or some bullshit.
I had a bunch of United Airlines miles that were expiring. And Kelly just ordered. So I get.
So you want to waste some paper?
Sitting at my house right now, or this week's People magazine, which I could care less about. A cigar aficionado magazine. I think a whiskey aficionado magazine.
Interjection real quick.
Yeah.
There's a Cigar Aficionado magazine cover with the cast of Sopranos on it, and it's a fucking amazing picture.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I never read the article or anything, but I remember I would look at it just like the way that I'm into that, like the way that people are posed, or like Vanity Fair does a good job. Like, I just notice it, but like that, if anybody out there, do your Googles. It's worth it. It's a great layout.
The newest issue, I happened to glance at it before I walked out the door just today. It's The Godfather. It's like the 50th anniversary of The Godfather, so they talk a little bit about that and interviewed Coppola, and yeah, it looks like it might be a decent read. The one that I actually would want the most is Entertainment Weekly. I guess we only got for a couple weeks because I wanted that Obi-Wan cover, and it didn't come. And I missed it, so it's all right. It's one more thing to throw away later.
That's true.
That's all we're doing is just collecting stuff to throw away later.
It's making your house even more flammable.
That's fine. I don't run the bathroom fan, so I'm up one. Sorry, it smells like shit in my house. I'm scared to death to run the fans.
Thanks, Bobby.
Did you guys used to pick up magazines when you were younger?
White Dwarf.
All right, so let's talk
speak.
about them. Let's talk about them.
Yes.
I had White Dwarf as well.
Well, I don't know what White Dwarf is.
It's a
40K
40K magazine.
Okay.
Not necessarily 40K. It's a Games Workshop magazine.
Yeah, it's their magazine.
Oh, fucking nerds.
It used to be good,
Jesus
and now
Christ,
it's
y'all are
not.
nerds.
It was monthly, then it went bi-monthly.
Yeah. And back to monthly.
And then back to monthly.
And then it was like a
And
magazine
now-
to like a book-size magazine.
Yeah.
Is it Pan Monthly now?
No, it's trans monthly, bro.
But it's probably. But I'll tell you what I loved. I mean, I remember a lot of things about that. But you know what I loved was when they two people played a game and they like broke down
Battle
their like
reports?
yes. like their moves and their strategy for each turn. I'd never played and would read that religiously because it was so much fun.
To this day, I like reading the battle reports more than playing.
Yeah.
The battle
Oh my
reports.
god, I like a paper cut more than I like playing that game.
So I had magazine subscriptions, I guess, until my phone was more interesting than.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, in high school, I would.
Let's run some off.
In high
Let's
school,
run some off.
Wizard.
I had
Toy Fair.
Toy Fair was fucking great.
Whenever it became available.
Always read the comics.
I will tell you, it broke my heart when I gotten out of collecting for a while, and I was in a Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, and I'm like, where's Toy? I don't see Toy Fair. And I Googled it, and I'm like, oh man, they canceled Toy Fair. It was kind of heartbreaking.
I know. I remember it clearly to this day.
I was super. So The Source. I bought The Source every
Me
month.
too.
I bought XXL whenever it became a thing.
I did too.
I was super into
Word Up?
I'd never bought Word Up.
I was super into cars. I bought Lowrider magazine.
Hold on. I want to talk about what was the first one that you mentioned?
The Source.
No. Before the Source.
Toy Fair.
Toy Fair.
Yeah.
Every time it comes up, I just had to mention this one thing. I loved like the little. They had pictures of toys and they had little comic blips.
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
My favorite one to date. They had Diamond Select did a Origins statue line where like it had Peter Parker. And he was like being bit by a spider, and then behind him was like Spider-Man standing.
Yep.
And the origin piece was always like a black and white paint, and then the character was in color, I believe, if memory serves. I could be wrong about that. My favorite one was there was one of Daredevil, and it had like the toxic chemicals like spilled on the ground, and like him like holding his face, and Daredevil was standing behind him, but with his back turned to him, like looking over his shoulder, and the little blurb over top said, "Now clean it up." And I still to this date am hunting that statue. I'm hunting it. So if you have one out there,
you
you're
can
trying
make your own little word by one.
yeah.
Put it
so,
on
if,
there.
so if you have one out there you're trying to sell, hit your boy up.
It's funny.
So Source XXL
Cars.
Cars.
Lowrider magazine. I picked that up.
Guns
often.
and Ammo? Are you in Alabama?
No, wasn't into the Guns and Ammo. Slam was a basketball magazine.
I remember it.
Of the same vein as XXL. I think it's the same company.
Yeah, I think so too.
I picked that up every month.
Female, like a Maxim type. Remember when that was all the
Maxim,
rage?
dude.
So Maxim had details.
I never had a subscription to any of that.
Just
Rolling
Maxim.
Stone. I used to read Rolling Stone every
I
month.
think XXL's was called King.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I think I bought one issue with Trina on the cover.
Yep, I remember that. I think that might have been the only issue of that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else was there.
Nintendo
Maxim.
Power.
Yeah. Game Pro?
I had a different game one.
Electronic gaming monthly.
Yeah. Electronic gaming monthly.
I've got all of the game.
We
I still have
got
them.
those. Like I remember as a kid, we got those. Remember how big of a deal it was? Did you guys ever have your
Cheat codes in the
your
back?
picture in like Nintendo Power? You could send in your picture next to your completed game.
So I never had it, but
My
you
brother
send
had his
fan
name
art,
listed
too.
one
No shit.
time. Yeah,
But I'll tell you the cover that always stands out is that claymation one of Mario jumping. It was from Super Mario Brothers 2. And it was like a claymation cover of Nintendo Power with like Wart in the background and Mario jumping up like in the I'll never forget. It's like super iconic in my mind. It might have been their first issue. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think about other magazines. I had Star Wars Insider.
Is that a thing?
It was a
so
thing.
I got that as an adult. I was getting Star Wars Insider, and then I think a British company took over the publication, and it got like super expensive and hard to find for a while.
Yeah. I remember that.
As part of a school thing, we all got the is it Times magazine?
I had Newsweek through school.
Newsweek. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Newsweek.
Oh, I was in Boy Scouts, so I got Boys Life every month.
Hey, yo!
I'm a nerd, so I got Scientific America.
There you go. I got Popular Mechanics for a while.
Yes, that's the car one I was thinking about.
Magazine.
Like, before, you're talking about pre-orders, man. Before the fucking internet, I used to love the fucking Bible that comes out every year, the Premiere magazine. It's like thick.
Like the previews catalog?
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes out, I think, once a month now.
Does it? But I remember getting that thing, and you looking through, like, then that animation in there. I got New Type. New Type is an American anime magazine.
When you say these, are you all talking about it subscribs?
Yeah, at least shortly. Like sometimes I would get a year or something, or like.
Nah, I mean,
I never.
Sometimes
I would go to the store and buy them.
I would subscribe to every one that I've mentioned, with the exception of XXL, The Source, Wizard, and Toy Fair, because I enjoyed picking them up at the store. Like it was like something I looked forward to.
Yeah, I had a subscription to The Source one time and to XXL, I don't think at the exact same time. And both times I would usually get the issue 2 months late, and it looked like it had been in the bottom of a mail truck for a month and somebody stepping on it.
Did you ever take covers off? And, you know what I mean? Like
No,
I did for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, like the last time I took a cover off of XXL, it wasn't all that long ago. I don't know where it's at now, but it was the cover where Slaughterhouse had signed to Shady.
Gotcha.
And I don't even think I was buying XXL at the time, but I went and bought that issue. So he says on here a number of questions that I think we've kind of already answered. Do you like them or do you miss them now?
I don't miss them.
I miss them.
I read them. Just give it to everything online digitally, please.
Yeah.
I don't need more paper.
Well, I guess so. I don't need it physically.
I think when you talk about magazine, I'm going to think specifically
physically
a book.
that comes to mind.
Laura just bought this Apple package recently because she wanted to. I can't remember what it was. She had an intention with it, and as a result, it got us magazines and books and all this other shit every month that we can look through. And I was looking through the magazines that they offer, which is a fuck ton.
Yeah.
Entertainment Weekly was one, and I think that's the only one I added to my list.
Really?
You know, but I would have added some that I was interested in. They just did, it was like a home and garden, and you know what I mean, a bunch of shit like that.
Philosophy Today.
Actually, do you remember there was an action figure magazine? It seemed more like a trade magazine, but it wasn't bad. It was just you would have to.
I only picked up an episode.
Correct, because it wasn't worth
it was not.
subscribing.
It was like somebody's action figure digest. It was like
something like that,
yes.
and it was like if you saw the toy that you liked on the cover, then you knew it was going to be a great issue because they were going to do a deep dive into that shit. Yep. But then the majority of the book was like a price guide.
Exactly. I remember picking them up very rarely.
Tomart's action figure digest.
Yeah. That shit was fucking good though. When it was good, it was good. Well, when it was good for you, so to speak, you know. He said, for me, I loved magazines. They were especially great on a trip. I used to sub to Toy Fair and Hero Illustrated. I used to pick up Wizard at the comic store each month. Whenever I would be going on a trip, I would pick up the latest Us Weekly. It was mindless enough, yet still interesting enough that it would last an entire plane ride.
US Weekly, no,
it's Us.
It's Us Weekly. Oh, is it? Okay.
And I would leave it in the seat back for the next passenger. Look at you. As I got older, I used to sub to Maxim and FHM.
FHM, that's the one. So FHM.
And he says, because I was cool, bro.
FHM was a British magazine at first because I remember going to the bookstore and looking at the magazines, and it was a little bit bigger, and I never bought it because it was like, I think it was like $10 at the time, but then they brought it over as an American version. Maxim Top 100, Hot 100.
Dude, my buddy Mario,
number 98,
had all of those shits, like, and he bought every single issue, and
sticky
they were just
as fuck.
Oh my god, they were just stacked all over the house, like, and he knew all these girls' names and what teeny bopper bullshit shows they were starring in, and I mean, it was an encyclopedia of that sort of knowledge.
That's just pre-Instagram.
It really was.
It
really was.
Let's see. And then last one from Mr. Billings, who I just read a Patreon comment from, ironically. He said, hey, guys, I was curious, how do you decide what to watch next, if it's in your queue or just browsing freely? How do you start a show or deem it worthy of your time to try and watch? So, usually it's almost entirely dependent on, am I watching this with Laura or am I watching this on my own?
It's whatever HBO Max tells Bobby to watch.
Yeah, that too. Whatever's in the recommend list, and they're usually spot on. But a couple things have been missing.
Yeah, honestly, it's I have to decide, well, is this something Kelly's going to want to watch with me? If it's not, I normally just, tear into it. And
have you ever stream cheated?
I'm not. I'm familiar with it, but I never have.
I've done it once.
I can think of times where I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be home for like 3 days. I'm going to watch this, watch it, and we'll talk about it when we get home. I've done that before, but I've never just lied. And I remember you did it with Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And I never lied about it, but she did eventually end up forcing my hand on it. Because she would say have you watched this? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, watch what? Have I watched this show in this screen on this furniture? And I'm like, I haven't watched this. I haven't watched this. I would take my hand because I won't lie, but she knows that I will find an angle because I won't lie to you. I won't lie for you. Like that's my rule. But I will find an angle, and she eventually was like, have you seen episode 13 of Game of Thrones on any fucking channel anywhere in the fucking world other than right here, right now with me? And I was like, yes. But anyway, so yeah, usually it's like, honestly, more often than not, it's from recommendations from you guys or other people that hit me up via DM, or like Matt H had hit me about that vegan thing. That was on my list. It's that, or then I browse. Mm-hmm. Usually when I browse, I'm only browsing Showtime or HBO, and I'm usually just in their documentary section because that's usually all that I really want to see. It's probably in my older age, and because I feel like dramas are probably my favorite genre, and I don't feel like they're making a whole lot these days. It feels like anyway. I
mean, it's intertwined with other things, sci-fi drama, fantasy drama.
Yeah.
Bobby just wants to see people be sad.
Yeah, I do. I'm like,
he wants to see other people also being dissatisfied.
It's ancient Greece, right? Like you went to the comedy or you went to the tragedy. Like you only had a smiling face and a sad face. Like that was what, you know what I mean? And I would have 100% been there on sad night.
Sad night.
Oh, dude, Saturday night.
So we're having all you can eat crab legs Saturday night.
I'm now with a third mask.
We're gonna watch the colorized version of Schindler's List.
I'm like, Jesus Christ!
I was like, dude,
Technicolor, just Schindler's List.
Dude, let's go pig out on crabs and then fucking contemplate the nothingness of life.
Yes. See, now we have the smiley face, the sad face, and then we have an angry face. And people really like angry faces, and I don't.
What about the hangry face, where you don't eat till after the movie?
I don't know.
Everybody's angry.
What would you put into angry? See, I feel like now it's the smiling face. I was gonna say the smiling face, the sad face, and the idiot face, but I'm gonna not say that. But the smiling face, the angry face, and the excited face. That's what I feel like it is now.
Oh, with all the colors and flying and zooming.
This is sad, and there's that face. And
it's like the what you call scary movies ghost face. What's that?
It's the different reactions to farting in public. That's what those faces are. Was it wet?
But yeah, I usually am just scrolling through the documentaries and I look for something that's of interest, and I've been honest and transparent about this. I'm usually 100% judging the book by its cover, and its cover seems interesting.
Everyone does it to some degree. You have to.
Yeah, I wish. So if I was to be critical of HBO, you know how like when you're scrolling through Netflix, like when you highlight it, the little thing will pop up and give you. So like HBO doesn't have that. And I wish that it did. Yep.
I don't like we use the Roku for streaming, and I do not like HBO's interface on there. It seems like I'm missing so much shit. It seems like there's so much that stuff you talk about, I'll just scroll and it doesn't show it to me.
Right.
And apparently it's not listening enough to our conversation to will it into the universe.
Prime is awful interface.
Yes.
Hulu
Prime is the worst.
Questionable. Yeah, Prime
is
the worst.
Crazy.
My favorite is like not the content per se, but like maybe because I use it so much and I'm used to it. But Netflix has the best interface too.
Yeah, it's good.
The thing that's weird about the Amazon one is they obviously have the Prime stuff, but they also are shoving the pay stuff.
Yeah, they have Prime stuff and they have mixed and pay stuff, and then they have shut it. Like
100% agree.
It's confusing.
It used to be super easy to divide, and now it's almost like, oh, here's new movies that you can buy.
My issue with Netflix's platform is I think that their layout and their organization and everything is great. I just think they don't know me, and they're lying and acting like they do.
Maybe it's
like
too many people using your account.
They're like based on what you watch, you're probably like this. I'm like, oh look, Laura. They think the only things that I want to watch are Netflix originals. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
You like the trailers so much.
You know, it's because of all the Marvel shit you watched.
It's because
5 years ago.
It's because they're trying to pad their fucking pockets.
I'll tell you, on all our streaming accounts, there's a separate anime account because I'm like, look, I don't want to scroll
on your shit.
Well, no, it's that if that's all you're watching, you guys are watching, then I'll never see anything on my page other than anime.
Yeah, we use different, not accounts, but different avatars or whatever.
Yeah, so different logins or whatever.
Laura and I share one, but I'm telling you, like the shit that they recommend to us couldn't be more off base. It's like, but it always has that little in sign.
Have you been?
Always has that little in sign on it.
Have either of y'all been brave enough to press that play something button on that?
No. Hell no.
No.
We should do that one. We should all press it
and we have to watch
have
the
to
whole
watch.
thing.
I was
At least 3 episodes if it's a show.
So
Bro,
listen,
this can be a thing.
There's a guy I started following this dude on social because of sneakers. He's got a YouTube. It's not even about sneakers anymore. It's almost like how this used to be about toys, right? So, but him and his friend have a podcast, and that's one thing they do is like, all right, well, it's kind of like a Mystery Science Theater or whatever. But it's like, just press the button and see what happens, and they watch it and kind of commentate through whatever it happens to play.
I mean, we can do that and then have
So he said, even more curious about what documentaries you choose. Does it have to be a subject that's interesting to
Cults.
you, or do you decide based on word of mouth or reviews? So either word of mouth or the subject. Like never reviews.
Or cults.
Yeah, well, that's
cults a subject.
But I do love a good cult, man. But like,
top content and anything culty, like even this bad vegan shit, it's got culty vibes.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Gurus and shit, man. I love it.
Like I always I'll be honest with you. Like the first thing that I ask myself when I read one of those descriptions is like, or not ask, if I know I'm going to watch it, I'll tell myself like, oh, that sounds fucked up.
yes. That's why I like Deadly Woman.
Yeah. I watched a lot of documentary series based on your recommendations and have enjoyed all of them. But when browsing through them myself, I usually can't land on one because of the time investment.
Yeah. And some of them sound boring whether they are or not. It's just like, I don't know.
Same with TV shows or movies. We have access to an infinite amount of content, but only so much free time. Yep.
Yeah.
I hate starting a new show and getting 3 to 5 episodes in and realizing it's not for me.
Yeah.
Most recently did
hard.
this with Raised by Wolves, which I told you I watched 1 episode of and I was like, I'm out. Which was on HBO.
I had a conversation recently that
Have a good week.
There's so much content out there. I don't have time to watch 6s and 7s.
Yeah.
I need to watch 8, 9s, and 10s on stuff because there's not enough time for me to.
I don't even have time to watch this thing. I do want to watch on my list because because sometimes you don't always feel like the mood. You said how do you watch things? So we have a lot of things on our to watch list, whether in our heads or actually in app. That I do want to watch, but sometimes you just don't feel like a show, or sometimes you don't feel like that thing. So that we would be like, me and Chris would be like, let's pick a genre. It was like, action movie, and then we'll browse specifically. Because if you're browsing aimlessly, that's what takes you forever. If you don't know any idea of what you want to watch, you gotta at least be like, okay, I feel like a documentary right now.
Yeah,
I feel like comedy. I want to laugh,
dude. Speaking of Netflix, like fucking, they constantly,
dude. He's losing his shit.
I don't think I've ever watched maybe more than 1 documentary on food ever. They constantly recommend me vegan, like, you know what I mean, knives over forks or whatever, like all this shit, like that I have no interest in. But like that's one of my other issues with, like, it, just
because it's Laura.
No, but she doesn't either. She didn't even watch TV. If I'm not here, she doesn't. She by the time she goes to bed, she's fucking exhausted. She's probably cooked 3 fucking meals for everybody, worked all day, fucking everybody else just sitting around.
And dealt with your ass.
Yeah, and dealt with me just being dissatisfied about her meals. No, I love her food, but she made something. Actually, I'll tell you just in terms of me, being, working on me. And the biggest room I've ever been in, Joe, is the room for growth. But that I've been working on. But like,
oh my goodness gracious!
Is she made this Mediterranean dip, and it's like kind of healthy. But it has like different cheeses and jalapeno peppers and all this stuff, and it's like a dip, and it doesn't look like anything I'd ever try. And I tried it, loved it, couldn't get enough. Had to tone myself back from it because I felt like I was going too far.
Is it hummus?
No, I've had hummus before, dude. There's this fucking I can't remember whether it's. I think it's Ali G. I think, and he's got like this like Palestinian dude way up in the food chain and this Israeli dude way up in the food chain, and he's like brokering a fucking meeting between them somehow. Jesus. And he's like, what is the problem between you two and hummus? And they're like, well, what? You two is at war about hummus. Like, I think you mean Hamas.
Wow.
And it's like, no, it's not it though, is it? It's hummus. Like, it's like, no, hummus is delicious. I eat it. He eats it. Like, they're getting fucking mad.
They have something in common. They found common ground.
There you go.
They both like hummus. They both hate this guy.
They both love chickpeas.
Oh. And with that, unless you guys have anything else, we can get out of here.
All right.
I think that the spoilers of the next top 5 list we're going to do is top 5 cartoon series of the 80s.
Okay.
Because we were going to do just top 5 all time, and Joe said we should probably break down by decade, and I think you're 100% right on that. So, and I think we're going to try to do that next week, maybe, depending on our schedules.
We can even do 70s at some point.
Yeah, like Yogi Bear or some shit.
Scooby Doo, Flintstones,
perhaps. I would imagine.
We'll look into it.
Yeah. So with that, shout out to the rest of the Cool Table. If you listen to this podcast, as far as I'm concerned, you're part of the Cool Table too. Shout out to everybody that works behind the scenes for us on Nerve Rage. We got Dante on Facebook. We have Phil on Notes and on Twitter. We have Raul on Instagram. We have Ricky Tiki Timber on the videos and such, and anybody else who may help from time to time. And with that,
Flappy labias.
Tasty taint.
tight dick player.